Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zelda: Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 2, Week Week 5. We have Cross World Entrance Key Sanity this week, which means entrances are shuffled. They could possibly have connectors between two different worlds, going from light to dark world. And key sanity meaning all of the keys and compasses and maps are shuffled along with the regular items. So there's a lot going on. I'm Resididor. I'm joined by Mind of Me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Cross keys is my absolutely favorite mode because it opens up a lot of extra things. We were just talking a little bit about how a connector can take you from the light world to the dark world or back the other way. So it means that, you know what, you don't need to be looking for that hammer, mitts, and moon pearl to get your dark world access. All you're looking for is really a moon pearl and a good connector, and sometimes finding that moon pearl will be hidden somewhere else in the dark world that'll lead you to somewhere else in the light world.
Yeah, I would agree that this is pretty much my favorite mode. As there's a lot to do to start with. There's a lot of different ways you can open when you do entrance. My personal favorite, and I believe Furaime is actually the one that popularized this, is starting at Link's house, fake flippering to the witch's hut, and setting up a hula hand so you can get early rupees. Early rupees are pretty important. You can buy bombs, which might be your only weapon for a while. You can really just do a lot with that. Get the bottle vendor. It's just helpful to have money early.
Absolutely. Getting checks like the bottle vendor. Usually after that Houlihan route, people go for Kakariko, but we'll see what they decide to do this time. And right away, looking at Sanctuary, we see that it is in the dark world. So there's not a whole lot we can do here. We can see what's here on Pyramid Ledge, and we can check a couple of entrances. Unfortunately, we cannot read signs as a bunny.
This is always an interesting place. There that leads to a lot more potential for bunny shenanigans. There's a few things you can do as a bunny that could lead you to the moon pearl. You can talk to NPCs, so like maybe Sick Kid or Hype Cave, the guy in the Hype Cave. You can walk to other parts of the world, use connectors, use the mirror in various spots, and you can just pick up freestanding items. So there's some things you could be expected to do as a bunny that could lead to your moon pearl. By the way, am I any louder for anybody yet? Because I don't know why Discord is hating me right now.
I'm just kind of amazed at the lack of divergence between these two runners. Neither of them are doing that early Houlihan play. They both started at Sank and are going over to East Dark World using those rupees that they got to head towards the eastern area.
Yeah, the eastern area is got four entrances that you don't really need any resources to get to, so it's not the worst play. They did pick up some bombs with the 50 rupees they had, so they do have bombs available if they need.
And we find an early small key to Thieves Town. That can be a small key that can be a little bit annoying in Key Sanity because oftentimes you will find the big key and Thieves Town first, be able to clear it, and then have to come back later for that chest. Of course, not having the hammer might be another issue. So this is a week 5 Crossworld Key Sanity. This is from the Kakriko division. Kinda Rando Retired is in a first place tie with I Like Big Boots at 24 points, and its mitts is currently sitting just outside of the top 3, tied at 5th with the Spoilers.
Alright, sorry, I was doing a little check on the audio side to see if I could change anything. I don't know if it's worked yet. But looks like we have the chess game there in Eastern. So they've found a couple of items there.
Yeah, and Furaime going and trying to farm the rupees for that. Cadenza choosing not, and then also orphaning the fairy cave over at Flute Spot 5. Hopefully, maybe want to go back there with the flute later, but who knows what could be in that.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird one to isolate. It's kind of sucks to walk all the way back over there.
We have a vanilla uncle, though. One thing with all entrant shuffles is that drop downs are randomized between each other, with the exception of Skullwoods, which has its own special rules.
And I'm pulling off a little bit of enemy farming there for rupees to get enough for the chess game. Got himself some flippers. That was kind of fun. It's an interesting way to go about that.
Early flippers are interesting, especially in entrance, where if we find both the dam and then Swamp Palace, we could go in and check that first chest.
Yeah,
Also
plus...
gives a
Sorry, go ahead.
it also gives us access to a couple more entrances that we could access with Fake Flipper, like the Wishing Well Ferry and the usual Fake Flipper spots, as well as the Waterfall Cave.
Yeah, since they have a Houlihan, and now they definitely can't Houlihan because they have flippers, or at least Furaime can't. There is also the possibility of Zora, but they're gonna have to. But Zora's Ledge is just a free item that they can get right now. That's not even an entrance; it's just something that they can grab. So it could be interesting to see what's over there.
And we find Aga Tower here at the Kakariko Gambling Den.
I'm doing a little 50-50 farming for the bushes there, trying to get some bombs before he goes into Kakariko. Doesn't have any money to buy anymore yet, so he's looking to have at least a couple in hand.
And Cadenza sees a small key on the race game. Only way to get to that is to mirror from the Dark World or to find the other end of the connector that leads to that side of the race game. Cadenza also choosing to follow one of the one-way connectors in Super Bunny Cave. Does get 2 items, but means that she could be orphaned someplace else in the Dark World without any access and would have to make the walk all the way back to Kakriko. Or could be very valuable and take us up to Death Mountain, where there is a ton of entrances to check. Finding Bombos in Super Bunny. Let's see where this other exit leads to us. Takes us down south a bit over to the Desert Canyon area.
Yeah, it looks like Furaime was thinking real hard about not going through that cave, but decided the 2 items were worth it and the full magic refill. They both ended up basically doing the same thing, cutting themselves off from Kakariko for now, but I imagine they'll get back there as soon as possible. There's a lot of entrances over there. Looks like we have Mimic Cave, which isn't going to do us any good right now without a hammer.
Absolutely. There's always a couple of checks that you'll go and you'll make a note about having to come back. Obviously, things like library, where you want the boots, Spike Cave and Mimic Cave, where you're looking for hammer, Sahasrara, the potion shop, the smiths, the sick kid, and your big bomb shop. Looks like Furaime might be doing. Oh, he is gonna go to the witch's hut and then probably do some of his flipper checks, while Cadenza is heading into the bountiful number of entrances in Kakariko.
Yeah, the witch's hut is pretty easy to isolate, so that's one reason to get it done as early as possible. Flippers make it even easier. You don't have to fake flipper. And we have the smith. That's not the best place for him, but it's not the worst. It's easily accessible with the flute and with that portal. If you don't have the flute by then, if you assuming you even need to do it, of course. Sometimes the myths are not even needed in entrance.
And Cadenza finding the Paradox Cave at the blacksmith shop. 7 checks to get here and another 2 entrances.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see your bomb jump back out, just because cutting yourself off from Kakariko again might be a little obnoxious. But yeah, there is the possibility of checking those connectors as well if you want to see where they might go. That glove is pretty nice to get though.
Yeah. Furaime finds a vanilla. Oh no, sorry. The well was at the ferry, and we get a dark palace key. That's something we're going to see a lot of in Cross.
Yeah, 6. Oh wait, that was a pod big key actually. There are 6 small keys as well. Can't really do much in pod without any of those small keys. But if you know how to hammer jump, you can get away with a max of 4, I believe, to get every last item in pod. Cadenza actually deciding to check one of the connectors there, finds the mini Moldorm cave entrance, and well, manages to make it past those Moldorms. Thought she was gonna take a death there, but oh yeah, she's gonna keep checking the third one. I thought she was gonna go back to the town, honestly, but she is.
Oh, or farming up some health.
See, it's an interesting thing that you don't see as often because the chances of getting cut off are, as you can see here, are fairly high, especially if you are lacking a lot of equipment. So, I mean, some people subscribe to the building your map philosophy, just see where everything goes, and then start like searching entrances for items. Some people like to just try to clear an area first before they do all that. Well, it looks like Ganon is at the Lumberjack, so we are defeating Aghanim 1 today.
Yes, indeed. And Cadenza finding the Mire area through that. Looking around as a buddy, couple of entrances to check. Some of this might be our logical Death Mountain access.
Yeah, Mire's actually a good place to have a connector to. Reduces reduces the potential for having to find myths, which is already somewhat low in entrance to begin with.
And also it gives us 2 options for accessing the desert entrances, either mirror or book.
Yeah, the ones on the ledge at least will be locked by the mirror or a connector regardless. Question in chat, you would need to have the mirror and the flute in order to get the big bomb from that location. That would be the only way. And plus, you would have to also at that point have either Aghanim dead or have the hammer and gloves for normal Dark World access.
All right, Furaime going to continue checking Kakariko from north to south. Well, Cadenza is going to do a south to north, and we find Hyrule Castle over in the Fortune Teller. That's a really nice set of entrances. And as soon as we get a weapon, a couple of good items.
Yeah, Furaim's got 8 bombs, so he could really go for it if he wants to. But not doing it for now. He's gonna see if he can clear the area first.
But finding Pod, we'll be only able to get the one chest in here, unless it's a small key or the bow.
Yeah, Furaim, I think knows how to mimic clips, so he might do that, but I'm not sure how much stock he takes in doing that. Looks like for now, none. So looks like we got Swamp in the Kakariko as well at the Chicken Hut.
And the well is our useless fairy.
And it looks like we have found Spiral Cave in Kakariko as well. Cadenza again just going straight for the connector. This is a little gross to do with this amount of hearts. It's very easy to get hit by the mold worms, but she makes it through at least to get the item. Whether she makes it out of the cave, we'll see.
Well done.
Oh, a little nice RNG there, so we get to see where this goes, and it goes to Laser Bridge, one of the 4 or 5 must connect entrances. You can only get there via connectors.
Yes, indeed. And there's a question in chat about the Moon Pearl in dungeons. If you enter the dungeon from the Light World, you do not need the Moon Pearl. However, if you enter the dungeon from the Dark World, you do.
Yes, and in Crossworld there is several dungeons with multiple entrances. Some that can be between Light and Dark World. So, for instance, if you enter Desert as a bunny from the Dark World and you go around the outside, you can exit in the Light World and be expected to re-enter and get the items. That would be in logic. Another thing, as Chad is pointing out, you can also just die in a dungeon in the Dark World as a bunny and revive as Link, and you can sequence break that way. It'll never be expected to be in the logic.
Okay, Cadenza continuing their way over, made the long walk back to Eastern just to confirm that it's just a fortune teller at that ferry. Not saving and quitting, probably going to go and get those flippers from the chess game. The important thing to remember about fairy revival is that it is out of logic, and so if you find something in a dungeon where you're supposed to be a bunny, it can really throw you off track. With that glove from Paradox Cave and the flippers, Cadenza is really incentivized to go and do the South Shore checks. A lot of runners will want to put off these checks until they get a glove because of the rocks that you would want to be lifting up around the ice rod area.
Yep, for I'm actually about to get the glove as well. Here in Paradox Cave, looks like Cadenza has found another connector to the Dark World, and finds a big chest entrance, which she could actually use as another connector if she really wanted. Alright, there's well, we've already seen the Moldorm Cave. I'm not sure if they checked the dam yet. And then we've got 3 more entrances on the South Shore.
Yeah. Look down, we find King's Tomb. And our first actual dungeon map. Cadenza will be making their way over to the Ice Rod area to check those 3 entrances, and probably checking the Wishing Well Ferry for that entrance as well.
And we still don't have very much in the way of money, so we can't do Zora, but Cadenza may be doing the rest of the flipper checks just because those early flippers could mean something here. We got Eastern inside of the Highly Island entrance, which means that we have 3 immediately in logic items that we can get our hands on. A 4th, if you can make it through the back. It's a little tougher without like a weapon of some sort, but with 4 hearts, it's pretty doable.
A nice early GT big key. In this kind of mode, it's always uncertain whether or not you're going to have to climb Ganon's tower. We do know that there's 3 items in that drop down, but if we can find the Hyrule Castle small, we will be able to avoid killing Aga too.
Yeah, another option is to Hyrule Castle is kind of in at least the one entrance is kind of in a bad place, but another option is also to maybe save scum the key and check both Zelda Cell and the back to see if you find anything interesting. And then you could hard reset if you do not. It kind of depends on where the other entrances are. If there's no real way to get there fast, like if they don't find the flute or anything, then it's less of an incentive to do so.
The other reason we may need the big key is there could be something in that Ganon's Tower big chest, or something in the 4 chests at the top of the tower.
Yeah, without a bow, we can't really climb yet. Looks like Fraime's gonna find the other entrance of Paradox Cave the regular way. And it looks like Cadenza is gonna go for this last item in here. Getting to the key is pretty easy. Surviving all the way to be able to get the chest activated is not always as easy, but again, as long as you're careful, it's not too bad to do.
You just got to be aware of where those bubbles or the anti-fairies are going to try to hit you. And Furaime is deciding not to go into Eastern Palace, but is going to go up to Ho-Ho.
Yeah, this is a philosophy some people ascribe to. Eastern can be a long dungeon to dip twice, and without a bow or an Eastern big key, some people do try to avoid actually making that commitment. With those early flippers, I'd be a little suspicious personally, but he may go there before too long, but just try to avoid it for as long as possible, and explore his other options to see if he can't find the big key or something at least.
Cadenza farmed up some health in order to do the damage boost to get this chest, which is just an extra piece of heart. It's going to death warp out. Did find that GT big key in Eastern, but like you said, it's not going to do us much right now. Even if we do find Ganon's Tower, there's only 2 chests that we can check, and none of them require the big key.
Yeah, and the logic could possibly expect you to climb with only the bow. It can be a little gross like that sometimes, but I doubt anybody's going to be rushing to do that as long as they have a lot of other options available. I'm doing a nice little tuck into the entrance there to try to avoid getting killed by these crabs, which do 1 heart of damage on the blue mail, but there's a lot of them floating around. As you can see, Cadenza's in a bit of a pickle right now.
Furaime sees the item or the entrance to take a look at the item in Spectacle Rock. Since there's no actual way to get it, no real point in looking for that, and we find the 50 rupee Hoarder Cave. I wonder if anyone would be interested in trying to farm up Zora money here.
Well, they're pretty low on rupees still, so it would be a long bit of farming. Furaime, I think, forgot he'd already seen the other side of that before he jumped down. I mean, you could get a couple, but then also they have the gloves, so Houlihan is now back on the table. So I'd be maybe get like 50 like Cadenza did, or she's gonna keep going actually. But maybe get some and then Houlihan for the rest before you go to the Zora area.
Alright, this will take Furaime back up to the Death Mountain ledge. This will be a good entrance to remember later because once we get the mirror, it is our only entrance into Mimic Cave, which is one of the other places that you can only access via a connector or the mirror. And he is gonna choose to Bunny Revive and do the bomb jump to clip through the ledge.
Yep, and he only has 3 bombs, so it doesn't seem super likely he's going to do anything other than check the connector here. Most of the items that you can get in here would require more bombs than he has. Cadenza taking that connector to Kakariko, finds Pod. Gonna get her one item out of here. Meanwhile, looks like the left side of Turtle Rock's the front of Desert, so that's not super helpful. Alright, Furaime taking a trip up to the Hyrule Castle area. Have we seen this drop yet? I've been a little distracted trying to like adjust my volume.
Yes, it was the Vanilla Uncle.
Ah, okay, so didn't find too much exciting up here either.
One nice thing about finding Pod early is it's a really great place to farm for bombs and arrows if you need it.
Alright, looks like Bottle Vendor is just a heart piece. And so let's see, what are we've gone all the way to South Shore. I think we've done most of South Shore. I think we might be looking at connectors at this point, or no, the Zora area. They haven't really gone to the Zora area.
Yeah, I think it is actually down to Zora area. They both followed connectors quite freely in this seed. We also have the Death Mountain Ascent entrance to check now that we have the glove.
Yeah, and have they gone to what? I think Furaime's visited the drop down. I know for sure. That's locked by the glove. So yeah, that entrance and the Zora area. He may check that entrance and then set up a Houlihan to try to get some money, because while they do have that one spot to farm, it's kind of gross to farm that much. Oh, here's some. These are also connectors.
Oh, that's right. We have the Hyrule Castle area.
There's also an item in here that they could get in logic. The other ones would require the small Hyrule Castle key. We find Mimic Cave, so that's so far not a very good connection.
Okay, so that's off the table. Don't need to worry about mirroring back there.
We've got a Bumper Cave in the Death Mountain Ascent Cave, which can be gone through with the hookshot or the cape. But meanwhile, Hyrule Castle has gone up to Death Mountain, so there's a lot more entrances suddenly on the table.
Absolutely. And somewhere on this side of the mountain, we will find the Old Man Rescue. However, he could also be in Tower of Hera. He has to be somewhere on this side of the mountain in order to take him home.
Yeah, looks like Furaime picked up a pod key, so he's going to check these next 2 items that are in logic with this one key. It's pretty okay chances of finding something interesting here. Swamp Big Key, however, not that interesting.
One of the least useful keys in Key Sanity. It only opens one chest.
It's nice to have in your hand before you go into Swamp, at least, if you're still looking for items. Ooh, we got some boots up on Death Mountain. That's going to open up a couple things for us.
For sure, we'll have the fairy bonk rocks by Link's house, as well as the regular bonk rocks.
And we do need those to eventually access Ganon. Looks like and they're also a handy mechanism for finding your way through the old man cave, as Cadenza is demonstrating right now. Just kick up a little dust, and you can kind of gauge your position. Meanwhile, Furaime is also on his way to the mountain, but he's going to take a stop in for some items first.
Yeah, had farmed up some bombs and pod. Gonna take care of this one guard that is in logic. Even though he could go all the way down to Zelda Cell, it's not in logic because, as you'd mentioned earlier, it is possible to steal the key from this guard and go all the way to the back.
Yep, that is a pretty good setup there. Gets that guard down, no problem. He's gonna, at least, he's probably gonna just continue on and worry about going to escape when he gets the key or climbs GT, one or the other.
Find our first Light World map from the old man for Desert Palace. Cadenza not doing an immediate map check. Wants to go back to check that other connector.
Most people do try to wait till they have a fair amount of maps before they worry about doing a map check, just to not to waste their time. Looks like second chest of Hyrule Castle, not too good. Just a compass. We do find Sick Kid, but we don't have a bottle, so we could also check the two Dark World entrances here if we were so inclined. But it looks like Cadenza is more interested in items that she might be able to get out of the castle here.
She will be able to go and obviously complete these checks a little bit quicker with the boots, but it's really awkward dashing around with boots without your sword.
Ooh, taking a bit of taking an accidental death there. Meanwhile, we got a big key to Hera in Zelda's cell. Don't know if it's a pendant or crystal yet, but it's not a bad find. Looks like Cadenza, having gotten herself down to 4 bombs, has decided against going back for. Well, nope, just kidding. She is going back. She doesn't have enough bombs to really do all of escape yet, but she can at least get the one item in logic if she wants.
Yeah, if you do bomb strats perfectly, you need at least 5 bombs.
All right, so I'm getting very interested in what's in the Zora area, since that is the largest gap in what's available that we haven't seen yet. Although we do have those 2 new entrances with the boots, so that's something.
Looks like Cadenza is going to go over and check Bonk Rocks. It's a pretty convenient check from over here in Hyrule Castle. Although it doesn't look like she's done her North Light World checks yet. So she will get the news about Ganon and may be able to check that Death Mountain Ascent entrance.
Yeah, not gonna find much of interest, and we won't really get any new information until we see the Bonk Rocks at least.
I do believe that both of these runners are very experienced at cross keys. I've seen them in various races before.
Yes, Prime definitely has a bit more experience than Cadenza, but Cadenza has definitely run quite a few seeds as well. So both of them fairly well versed in cross keys. All right, Cadenza getting the bad news on where Ganon is.
We'll just have to wait for her to finish off Lumberjack, and then we will get 2 new entrances checked from her. And Furaime is going to do the same, kicking up the dust strat, a little bit of pig pen strats, I suppose.
Yeah, it's better than. I mean, it is possible to just do this by walking and knowing the timing, but it doesn't hurt to have an extra way to know where you're at. All right, so here's a little bit of new information for us. Let's see if the boots are immediately going to pay off. Not so much.
Right, this would be really good routing after Cadenza checks the sanctuary entrance. Sees that it's only. She might actually pick up that big 20. You know what? We are so short on rupees. I could imagine that she might decide to go get the well. She'll get some money in there, then come back, grab that big 20, and then Houlihan. Check the bunk rocks by Link's house.
Yeah, yeah, potentially. I don't think she's checked Witch's Hut either, though, so that might distract her a little bit. But meanwhile, it looks like Furaime just went ahead and checked the old man save point, and it is up on Dark Death Mountain, which is a pretty nice save and quit point for clearing the mountain. Once you at least have the mirror, but jumps down and finds Turtle or finds the back end of Turtle Rock Laser Bridge immediately. So that's gonna be 4 items he can get right now as well.
And yes, Cadenza's gonna go continue on to the Witch and probably check Zora and Zora Ledge.
Oh, there's some Zora money for Furaime, so this is gonna pay off pretty well.
Another one of those Ganon Tower small keys.
All right, Cadenza may be going back to Houlihan now. I think yes. I think she's also got Zora on her mind. Won't have quite enough yet, I don't believe. Even if with the Houlihan, but she does know where to get.
And just a single arrow for that. Oh, just messed up her Houlihan.
Yeah.
Yeah, grab. Totally makes sense to grab that 20. We'll put her like that much closer to Zora. She'll only need to get, another 20 rupees.
Yeah, I'd honestly go ahead and try again as well. It's just not you're right here, and you don't want to do the Zora area twice if you can help it. So.
Or am I also going to check the entrance that is in the back of the Old Man Cave? This first part is in the light, but then the second part of the cave is in the dark. But it is probably the easiest dark room to navigate because there's no holes on the way back to the entrance.
Cadenza, unfortunately, getting that weird glitch where you bomb yourself and you go the opposite direction that you are intending to. So, not sure exactly what triggers that, but not any way of resetting it unless you just start over. So, I think she may just go farm the money or just give up and isolate Zora at this point.
Despite coming back out of Link's house, is not checking the fairy bonk rocks there.
Yeah, that was interesting, actually. That is an entrance that could have something good in it. She's got these boots pretty early.
Looks like Furaime will also do the Houlihan setup here.
Yeah, let's see if it works a little better for him. Yep, that's going to work out for him. So Cadenza may end up isolating Zora. We'll see here very soon, I think, if that's going to be a problem for her. Either that or she's going to spend a little extra time farming up rupees. Either way, it's not necessarily a good thing for her.
These bonk rocks, and there's also a set of bonk rocks in the Dark World in the same location, are places that can be easily forgotten in Entrance Rando.
Yeah, there's a lot of tricky entrances like that. And meanwhile, Cadenza has made her way to the Zora area, striking out at the Waterfall Ferry, so Zora's Ledge is going to be the last thing she can do. Alright, so not Zora's Ledge, so Zora's a big question mark right now. And it seems kind of likely that there's something there. We've got a few connectors, I think, to play with, but
We can also do a bunny walk from Sanctuary to the few entrances by pod, which may give us an entrance over to the top of East Death Mountain, or might give us access to an NPC that we can talk to get a moon pearl.
Yeah, that is also a fair point. That is three entrances, I believe, we can get to from that side. That
Yes.
could be be connectors, and it looks like we might have to do that. Could be connectors. They could be like we discussed earlier, hype cave, NPC, anything like that.
Right now, our runners are looking for pretty much anything. We have very little in logic, which seems somewhat unusual for a cross keys seed. Usually, I mean, both in logic or out of logic, pretty much. The only other thing that Furaime could have done out of logic was when they bunny revived in Turtle Rock, is walk through to the vanilla big key chest and two chain chomps.
Yeah, and again, with only bombs, that's pretty terrible to do, especially with the low amount that he had. So it's pretty understandable that he didn't bother. So I'm kind of interested that neither one of them is really bunnied into the sanctuary or the pod area yet. But they probably just don't want to deal with all that without a moon pearl if they can help it. It can be a bit of a time waste if you just leave your moon pearl behind and it turns out that you could have just done everything the normal way instead of wandering through as a bunny. So people do try to avoid that time waste if they can.
I'm just trying to think of what we could find over in that area as a bunny in terms of entrances, because we've seen most of Light Death Mountain. I suppose we might be able to see, the the top of Light Death Mountain, maybe some other connector over to West Dark World.
Yeah, a connector to either the top of the castle or East Death Mountain would not be too weird to find, I don't think. Or, well, actually, that would probably be my top vote. But, or there, I don't think we've seen the top bumper cave. That's a freestanding item that could be something good. That would be another possibility as a connector. Something there. There's a lot of things that connectors could still take us to that would be kind of interesting. And there are a few connectors we haven't seen that you can do as a bunny. So it seems like there's a lot to do right now, and it's funneling them into bunnying over in the pod area. But we'll see which one of them bites on it first. Meanwhile, Cadenza is actually setting up a key scum, it would appear. So I think she intends to check this and then reset, and then maybe check the back later if she can. So actually, with the back of old man, it's not terrible to get to. It's not like super free, but it might be worth this setup depending on what's back there.
Sure.
All right, so Furaime is going to. Well, he's going towards Aghanim Tower for one, but he's only got 7 bombs. That's going to be a little tight, so we might have something else in mind. I'm not sure. I forget what else.
I don't think you found another pod key.
I'm not sure he ever did Spiral Cave, actually, so that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like you hate to see seeds like this where just you can't get anything but a bomb. Like there's no offense whatsoever in your bag. Like you're just wandering around and just bombing everything and hoping for the best. Like like the longer that goes on, the worse you feel. 42 minutes with nothing but bombs, no really renewable weapon is not a good feeling.
And I mean, it seems like no matter where our progression is, it feels like both of our runners are going to last location, which is something that always feels really awful in cross. Like it feels awful in regular rando too, but it feels particularly awful in cross keys just because there's so many entrances that you're normally able to check right from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and Cadenza getting that Hera big key is not gonna save scum anymore. Understandable. But yeah, cross keys is a mode where it's very easy to go right instead of left, and pretty much change the entire course of your run because you just didn't go the right way. But there are seeds like this as well, where like the right answer is just so like gross that nobody does it, and they just all end up last location. And it looks like Furaime is maybe going back up the mountain. I don't. Oh nope. I think he's just gonna sequence break the Dark Cross. It is doable without a sword. It's a little gross, but I think he could probably pull it off. He's pretty good.
Just gotta shuffle your feet in the darkness.
Yeah, and if you can make it to the last room, there's a very free setup with boots. You can just bonk into the torch and then immediately go upward, and you will be right at the chest. So if you can survive that long, it's not too bad to do.
This is really one of the hardest rooms because the ropes keep getting in your way, but Furaime gets through it quite nicely.
Yeah, Cadenza gonna get some Zora money here and be a little disappointed, but so that might actually drive her back to Zora for not a lot. You get an ice rod in Dark Cross, which not any significant help, but nice to have, I guess. All right, so for I'm maybe going to West Death Mountain at this point. Yeah, the entrance is over here. We haven't checked yet, so that's a couple more. Those are actually in logic. They could be a connector that we were talking about before, or some NPC that you could maybe talk to. This would be after this. I think for sure pod is about all that we haven't seen. That would be something that we could do.
Vanilla Hookshot, Vanilla Spike Cave entrance is nothing. You got one other fairy cave here on Dark Death Mountain. Also a fairy cave, and Cadenza is making the play for the Dark World. We'll see which one of these entrances is leading us to progression.
I'm kind of surprised it took them this long to do it, honestly. But again, like trying to do all this without the pearl, you do want to try to avoid that time waste. So it's understandable. This is definitely the most dense like area or thing they have left to do, really. Now, I can't remember if I know that in item rando that Aga Tower with just bombs is no longer in logic, but I can't remember if they ever changed that for entrance. So I know we do have access to that first item in Aga Tower if you could do your bomb management, right?
Okay. First two entrances of the pod area are nothing. We've got one other one, and it's incredibly dangerous to do as a bunny.
Alright, and I guess I was reading Furaime's mind. You need 4 bombs to kill these guys, so if you can get them to both hit the same bomb each time, then I think you need 2 for the second room. 2 per. But maybe it is the first Naga Tower because it doesn't look like there's anything going on over here.
No, we get our green pennant information, and Sahasrahla is a good place to know, but that doesn't lead us to anything. So now, just waiting for Faram to kill these 2 fast guards.
So this might actually still be in logic for entrance. And there it is. All right. Well, all right. Well, that is very gross, but yeah, it appears that we do have the answer to that question. They did not ever change that. You can do bomb only Aga Tower. It's such a terrible thing. That is the worst thing to start out with.
Okay, so I believe Furaime will probably save and quit, start from Sanctuary. We will be able to see those 3 items in the back of the Hushwolf closet and see whatever is at pod.
Interestingly enough, I know the ice rod doesn't work on the ball and chain guards. I don't know if it works on the other fast ones, so he might have been able to use that, but he at least gets to explore the pot area with the moon pearl. So
and can outride the murder dactyl that's around Dark Flute 5. I was gonna check Catfish first though. And Dark Potion Shop.
Aga Tower is just below Kakariko. They just didn't do it because they only had bombs for chat.
Oh. Mini Moldworm Cave. This is a nice place to find at Dark Potion Shop.
Yep, gonna get a little mileage out of that ice rod since it insta-kills Moldworms. Looks like Cadenza is going the right direction, but she only has 3 bombs, so this is a slight problem. Great hook shot back there, which would have made this game a lot easier. Put some other entrances in logic, and also you can get to the entirety of West Ark World now.
That's a really nice find. But looks like Cadenza is going back to someplace else.
Yeah. Oh, nope, she's just going to buy bombs. I think she sees the writing on the wall. I'm pretty sure she is absolutely out of things to do other than this, so I think that she knows what's up.
Yeah, this is more than a little rude. We'll have to see what Catfish gives us here.
That's a nice bow, so we're no longer really weaponless. We've got a few things to help us out now pretty much immediately.
It does put, 2 more items in pod in play, and when we find Ganon's tower, because we have that big key, we can climb it up. Actually, no, we can't, because we're still looking for a fire source for the torches.
Yeah, but we do have a lot of things available to us, so not going to be surprised to see one of those show up soon. Meanwhile, Cadenza having to waste an extra bomb. She did miss one of the guards the first time, ball and chain, but she still has 5 left to do this, and she's just going to do some kamikaze strats, which is pretty understandable because those guys are really obnoxious to try to guide around. Looks like we find Skullwoods over here in the area.
Surprisingly, we have not found a Smallwood Swalky. Can't do anything with the back anyway, but it's a little bit unusual.
Yeah, I don't know. Those can be a little elusive. Sometimes you get both of them way before you ever find the back, and sometimes like the only way you're ever going to get a small Skullwoods key is to go to the front first. Looks like Aniza's got a different idea. She's going to go out the old man cave here, and what was here again? It was, oh yeah, Agata's cave. So that's an item she can get. Meanwhile, Furaime has also found Blind's Hut. So again, 5 more items immediately accessible here. He's finding all the good caves all of a sudden since he's found that big pearl.
Only got 1 item hoard left in the Hype Cave that we have not found yet.
Oh, got a big key to Thieves Town. I missed what was actually in the first chest. It glitched a little.
It looked like just rupees and a heart piece. No other major items.
Got a cane of Burno, which again another offense, something you can use for offense and defense actually. Not a bad pickup. Look, Thieves Town.
And with that Cane of Burna, small key, and the big key, this is fully completable.
Yeah, it's in logic. Everything's in logic. You would have to isolate the big chests, which is a very interesting proposition, considering that you need Castle Tower keys, especially. And hey, look, there's the other cane. So now we have all the the canes there to kill blind with. That makes the fight a little bit less gross than say just hammer blind. But that is a real pickle to put yourself into. Um, those castle tower keys can be literally anywhere, including inside whatever's in GT. So isolating something like the Thieves Town Big Chest, not a good feeling.
No, for sure. We'll have to see if Furaime is going to continue to the back. Looks like he is.
Alright, looks like Cadenza is going to Kakariko. I don't think she'd actually checked this yet, though, so I think she was just double checking to see that.
Yeah, sometimes some of the dark entrances, there are 5 dark entrances, I believe, and they can be a little difficult to tell apart if you're not used to it.
Yeah, I think Cadenza is...
Oh, apparently we got the hammer.
Oh, that must be what was in the first chest of Blind's Hut. Okay, so never mind. This is very much understandable as a play. It's also full Dark World access, so I'm really just picking up all the stuff right away as soon as he went into the Dark World. Looks like Cadenza's trying to figure out exactly where she wants to go to get into the Dark World. May have forgotten about the pod area. I'm not really sure where she's going for it.
Yeah, now that we have, traditional Dark World access as well as our connectors, Furaime has the world wide open to him. So it's really now a matter about, gathering your information, what are your crystals and pendants, and trying to determine what your best route is.
Maybe it was in Thieves Town chat is saying there was a little bit of lag in there as well. Either way, the hammer somewhere in the Dark Ice Shroud area. And now I'm not sure where Furaime. Looks like Furaime is frozen in a doorway for me.
Yep, one of those. It's not quite a door extension glitch there.
All right. Meanwhile, Cadenza is going to take a crack at these items in Turtle Rock. She's got one. She can just use her key here, since she knows where Laser Bridge is. Just waste the key and not even deal with the Pokey. But she's not really going to be able to get the Chain Chomp chest unless there's some kind of like boomerang or something in the chest in the center here. Because she only has. Well, no, she might still be able to get the chain. She's got 2 bombs. So trying to. No, I think you need 3. The way that she's got the gates set.
Looked like it was a map that was in the Thieves Town Big Chest.
I'm not sure. It froze just the wrong time for me, so I didn't quite.
Some sort of dungeon item for Turtle Rock, apparently.
Alright, well, now Cadenza definitely can't get that item because she took a death and wasted a bomb, so she's going to have to deal with that at a later time.
And Blind surprisingly had nothing to say, as his text box was fantastically blank.
Alright, well, Cadenza is going to go to the pod area, so if she goes up to the catfish area first, she'll start picking up a lot of goodies, but she does know that Sahasrah is over at Flute 5 in the dark spot, so that might be... I was going to say that might be more incentive for her, but she's going to prove me wrong and go immediately north. So she might be picking up all these things that Furaime has picked up as well in the last few minutes.
Okay, and she is going over there to Dark Potion. Furaime gets a crystal from Thieves Town, so that's our first one at 56 minutes.
I actually did just realize the problem that she's having, though, because she does not have any weapons to kill the Milnorms with. So that's a little unfortunate, but at least she knows it's there, so she shouldn't take too long to get back. She doesn't have any money to buy bombs either, though, so presuming that she goes right over to Dark Ice Shroud area, she'll get a weapon. So she'll probably, if she goes over there, she'll clear all that out and then come back.
Furaime gonna go and do the pod area checks. We've seen these before, but we'll be able to see the back of Sahasrah as well as pod itself, since Furaime now does have enough money to pay Kiki.
I also forgot the bow is a catfish, so that is a weapon for her, but interestingly enough, she chose not to go right back to Mini Moleworm Cave and get those 5 items, and I'm not entirely sure what she's going for. Oh, pod maybe? That's I guess that's a thing with the bow, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she just wants to chase that bow right now. Alright, so we got half magic and a rupee and some mystery item in Sahasrala's hut. I didn't quite catch that.
Yep, same. I heard the chime, but no sign of what the item was.
Alright, so let's see if chasing the bow will pay off here. Cadenza has 2 items she can get here, and then I'm not sure what she's thinking as far as where she wants to go afterwards. She can also farm up some bombs, of course. Pod being a very bomb-rich area.
Alright, today, Pod, what are you going to lead to? In terms of dungeons, we saw the back of Desert, but here's the front of Desert.
And we can get 4 items out of here, actually, with that small key, so not a bad find. It's also a couple connectors that we can check afterward.
Right now, the only connector that we're... Oh, that's a nice lamp. Right now, I'd say the only connector that we're really searching for is the top of Light Death Mountain, because we've got access to the Mire area, we've got access to Dark Death Mountain, we've got access now, either vanilla or connectors, to Village of Outcasts.
I don't believe we've seen the top of Bumper Ledge, so that is a thing that we're going to need at some point, potentially, depending on what's in the light world there, and also what's on the ledge. I don't think we've seen that yet either. But yeah, I think East Death Mountain and the top of Hyrule Castle are the major areas that we haven't gotten to yet. Or that we haven't found an access to yet. Well, we have the hook shot for the bottom of East Death Mountain, but the top of East Death Mountain. Alright, looks like Cadenza is going after this Mini Moleworm Cave now, so she'll get that hook shot, and I feel like something else good was in here, but I forget what. And then we'll see if she goes over to the... well, she's already cleared the pod area, so I think it's pretty likely she goes to the Dark Ice Road area. But speaking of East Death Mountain, there is one side of desert going up to it, and I also missed that we got the Hyrule Castle small key out of Mini Moleworm Cave, so that negates the need to kill Aghanim 2 at any point in the seed.
That's a really nice thing to find. Puts that at your ease.
Yep, Cadenza looks like she might hook across, though. Or where is she going? Oh, I guess she's doing pod entrance, maybe? No, she doesn't have enough money, so I don't know what she's going for yet.
I think rather than taking the portal, she's just gonna swim all the way over. No, she's going over to pod.
I thought she already got the items out of Sahasrala's hut, but maybe she didn't. Ooh, but she's not gonna get him for a minute there.
Nope, those murder dactyls are more than a little stingy, and Furaime is going to go and take that small key and the lamp, get those 3 items at the back of Escape here.
Yeah, finding that lamp does incentivize that a lot. And it is nice to know that you want to kill Aghanim 2 if you can just get these 3 items. I didn't see too much of interest remaining over there on East Death Mountain. I don't think you checked the other side of desert, so that's still kind of open. So I expect somebody's going to go to West Dark World fairly soon as well.
I think the only entrances we have on Light Death Mountain left would be top of Paradox, top of Spiral, and the 2 entrances to the Fairy Cave, as well as Tower of Hera.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. Looks like it was a heart piece that we missed earlier, so nothing too exciting other than that half magic in the back of Sahastra's hut. Meanwhile, we get to see what Aghanim 2 was potentially blocking before we found this. And just a small pod key, so that is probably logically required, but practically something they probably would have been able to skip it, depending on where the other ones are.
Exactly. Once you have the bow and the hammer, you only need 4 small keys and 1 big key to clear pod if you know Hammer Yum, but it's really awkward routing, and especially without the mirror.
Yeah. Speaking of West Dark World, I do believe Furaime's gonna take that plunge now. It's got a lot of stuff over here you can hook shot to, and we haven't really found another way there. It's possible one of the entrances of desert goes over there anyway, but it's easier just to do it this way. Meanwhile, Cadenza's taking that hook shot to east outbound, it looks like. So she's gonna find desert that way at least. She's still skipping the dark ice area for now, so not gonna find her hammer just yet. But we did find Hera pretty much immediately. We do have the big key here, so this is another dungeon that Prime could put down here.
No idea if it's a crystal or a pendant yet. Just like with any dungeon item shuffle, the music is randomized, so that's no clue. And Furaime is going to Harapot using the hook dash setup.
Yeah, that one is easy enough that even I can do it, but I'm pretty inconsistent in it. I think it's basically just easier overall than the bomb setup though. There's no buffering. You just kind of have to like go line up on the hook at the bottom or the peg at the bottom, go right, and as long as you identify the right pixel to land on, just press down and right at the same time, and you can get yourself to the right spot you need to hook into the pot. So it's a little bit freer than the buffering.
We do find another Turtle Rock small. With that Cane of Samaria, that does put into logic the first that spike chest in Turtle Rock, since we can get there via the Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, that's true. Meanwhile, Moldorm down, and we got ourselves another crystal. Interestingly enough, Cadenza saw the heart container on the torch and said, "Nope, doesn't want it. Not interested."
It's one of those things that, if you start to feel behind, especially since you last location Moon Pearl, then you took that extra death, even though you feel like, okay, maybe I want those safeties, might want to just avoid it. And apparently Cadenza found the cape somewhere.
That was where was that? Where did she go? I want to say that was in. No, I don't think that's right. Oh, that was in Turtle Rock. I think. Maybe. No, that doesn't sound right either. Where did she get that from? Oh, right side pod. That's where it was. I was
Okay.
trying to think of what she had done that Furaime had not done.
All right, but we find the connector to race game, get our small key to pod. Well, it puts the back into logic, so we'll be able to get Dark Maze and the Terrapin chest.
Opens it. It doesn't really put it into logic. You do need 4 keys logically, just because of all the doors you can open. But it does at least allow you to get the items. And logic is, as far as cross keys goes,
Yeah.
logic is interesting intellectually, but generally for suckers.
Furaime going down to the Curiosity Shop, another one of those entrances that can trip up first-time runners to any kind of entrance shuffle.
Alright, so we got ourselves a small key to
Somewhere.
I didn't even see. I didn't see. But Cadenza, meanwhile, finding out what pod was without having to spend the rupees that she doesn't have, luckily. And she got Kiki on the way out, and he'll despawn when she hits the screen transition, though. And then, will she finally go to the Dark Ice Rod area to get her hammer, I wonder?
Dark
Look,
fortune teller. Looks like she's gonna hook shot across.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. That she might stop here and hook shot across, which is going to be a little unfortunate. If she does the whole entire loop, maybe she finishes at Dark Ice Rod area, so maybe it's not like all bad. As long as she does that, like after she loops around, except for that she won't not be able to kill Moldorm here because she doesn't have a sword either. So she's gonna have to leave this behind as well. It looks like Village of Outcasts hasn't done anything too exciting for us yet, but we do have this last entrance. It's just I didn't see what the heck it was, but it's something not interesting apparently.
Probably a storyteller.
Yeah. She's gonna looks like she's gonna hairpot to go up and get the big chest at least. I could understand that, but looks like Furaime is gonna go north to Skull Woods first to check out that situation. He could have gone south for a couple of guaranteed items, but he can also do that with a hammer and glove, so he doesn't have too much reason to worry about isolating any of that.
Skull Woods, we talked about before, has kind of an interesting layout. The 3 skull entrances are randomized, and the drop downs are randomized. We would like to go out of this entrance and see the back of Skull Woods. If we go out of this entrance and see it's kind of vanilla entrance, then we know it's an unfortunate pattern to Skull Woods, which means we have to take random drop downs to try to find the entrance with the Skull Woods big chest, and that's our way to get to the back.
Yeah, and even if you don't come out and find the back of Skull Woods, meanwhile, by the way, though, that Furime's just finishing out here, so he doesn't even care. He's just going to drop down. If you do find that the loop is just in the front and you can't, and the only way to get to the back is the big chest, it doesn't necessarily mean you're locked out, because you could have the drop down to the back be the one that goes to the loop and get back that way. It is a possibility. It's not a high possibility, but yeah, it looks like he didn't even care though because he's finishing out here.
Cadenza, at least we'll get the important item out of Hera. And the other thing in Entrance Rando, that pinball room is still always a small key.
Alright, so is this a lockout? It is not a lockout, but he does know for later when he has the fire rod at least how to get to the back. Alright, Cadenza moving on from Hera said she cannot kill Moldorm. It's going to continue on to the Village of Outcasts. She'll be able to clear Skullwoods too if she wants to without getting locked out, but without a hammer, let's see what her incentive is. And oh, I didn't see that before. We have a big key on the bumper ledge there, so we are going to want to figure out which connector that is. We haven't gone through bumper cave yet, and we do have both means of getting through the side that we have access to, so that's a possibility. I'm trying to think of what other connectors we have yet to see. Could be well, that one right there actually.
Yep. Was that Hookshot?
That was East Death Mountain Ferry.
Okay.
Hookshot Cave is another one though. That is correct. Another possibility is we haven't seen all the sides of Turtle Rock, and one side of Turtle Rock can in fact end up up there. It would be the front, which is the only one we're missing right now.
We find Ice Palace at Hype Cave, lacking a sword in order to complete it. But a sword or a fire rod will let us potentially clear it.
Yeah, no big key, so we... Oh, here's another connector, speaking of, that we haven't... I don't think we've seen, but it looks like Furaime is not going for it. Interesting.
There are two entrances that are, well, one of them's useful, one of them's useless, that can have to be through connectors. The useful one would be the top of Floating Island in the Dark World. The useless one would be Desert Right. But we find Ganon's Tower.
Yep. He probably just intended to clear what he could in the area and maybe check that last just in case he does get cut off. There is a slim possibility that it still happens. But he can do a lot here in GT. He's got 3 small keys. He's got a cane. He's got a hook. He's got a hammer. He can get I don't know, something like 20 items out of here right now. 19, I think, something like that.
Yep, and it's not really much of a gamble. You almost always see runners and cross keys check tile room right away. Just because it doesn't have that same chance to be a small key, it's just as much likely to be a useful item as any other chest in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, just do it on your way pretty much, or in this case, do it before you go left. I have punished myself by going left first and finding the big key over there before, which kind of sucked. But Furaime's going to do a little show for us here. He's setting up for a bomb jump with the lamp, which the first step here is you go in here and you kill all these enemies in this trap room, and then you go back to the other room. And the reason you do this is so that you can set up your spawn in the other room for that door at the top. And then you go down here, you push the block out of your way and move, get everything set up, kill these enemies, and then after you clear all the enemies out, you go down to the bottom and you set up a bomb and you move to the last pixel against this pit here. You kind of slide up with your bomb to the top and like bomb yourself across, and then you can hit all the torches with the lamp. You have to do all this while avoiding that Medusa and that Wallmaster, which is kind of gross, but I think Furaime is pretty likely to be able to pull it off. He's done this a few times before.
Doing some nice item dashes to get across and just line yourself up with that pit.
Yeah, the reason you set up your spawn at this door here is so that you can spawn right next to that torch up there once you dive off the edge after lighting the first torch, and it gives you a little more room, more time to get all the way through the torches before the first one goes out and you end up losing. Nice fairy drop.
That was a fantastic fairy. So doing that kind of sequence break means that Furaime will be able to check all of the chests here in GT.
Yeah, if he's feeling real spunky, he can climb GT with just his bow and his hammer. Doesn't need a sword, logically. It's a little bit of a gross proposition for some people, but I sure wouldn't be very interested in doing it. But I think Furaime's done it a time or two. Probably might be thinking about it because he doesn't have to kill Agatu, he knows that. So he could just climb and then leave.
And doing the death warp here is much quicker than going full right without the mirror, because you'd be kind of trapped there, and then you'd have to do another death warp out of Randa room. So if he's going to go and continue up Ganon's Tower, or continue through the basement, it makes much more sense to do the death warp there than go left.
Yeah, it looks like Cadenza cleared Village of Outcasts and is interestingly enough going to check this connector instead of going south. So, no, never mind. This isn't the connector. That was in Swamp. I guess she just didn't check this entrance yet. So, I think she's gonna end up doing the full south loop since she doesn't have the hammer here in a second. We'll get to see Digging Game and Stumpy, which we haven't seen yet. Meanwhile, Furaime immediately picking up a red boomerang and what was in the first?
Mushroom.
Okay, mushroom. I was like, I saw it, but then I was looking at the tracker and didn't see it.
I don't believe we've seen Potion Shop yet.
We have not.
And we know that Magic Bat is at the Thieves' Hideout. Furaime may choose to fake powder And we get the big key to Eastern, so that's another clearable dungeon.
Looks like he actually got the powder at some point, so maybe not so much fake powder as real powder.
Okay,
I'm
well,
not sure where. Yeah, so Eastern Big Key is another dungeon you can deal with. Powder is in GT as well. Alright, I've spaced on a couple of the chests he opened up. Alright, Rando Room, and then we're on to the Armos Knights. He's got the bow, so that's not going to be too big of a deal. Oh, Cadenza finding a sword. That's a nice prize for going south.
so she still doesn't have that hammer, so when she finds Ice Palace, she won't be able to clear it, but she could dive in.
Yeah, oh, that would be a little unfortunate, but we've got a mirror and a castle tower key. Both the castle tower key is very required. We've got a shovel, so we've picked up every fetch quest inside of GT so far, except for maybe the tablets.
Just waiting for that book to behind Ice Armos.
And with that mirror, Furaime is leaving GT with just so much to do. He's got a lot of world open to him now. Oh, Stumpy had this Swamp Small I'm seeing in chat. That's another interesting pickup.
Still not sure if it's required, but in Cross Keys, you're almost guaranteed a swamp dip with, the 11 items in it.
Yeah. Well, it's 10 items and maybe another one if it's ever the green pendant, but I believe.
Oh, Turtle Rock's green,
Yeah, not today at least. But it looks like we're in GT with Cadenza as well. Oh, there's that powder. Okay.
She doesn't have that Samaria from Thieves Town or the hammer, so those are all the ones that she'll be able to check.
She could climb if she really wanted to. She also knows that she won't have to kill Aghanim, so maybe a little more incentive for her. I don't know. We'll see. Doesn't look like she's interested just yet. Hopefully she doesn't go into ice. Looks like we got Swamp and Ice as pendants. Speaking of Swamp and Ice. So we do have full knowledge now.
Yep. That's a bane. That's a bit unfortunate that Ice Palace is a pendant, since we can clear it.
I don't think we found the dam yet, so I don't think we can actually clear it. But if we do find the dam, it will be something on the table. And we do still have a fair amount of things that we haven't found yet. So and it's probably going to look a little tempting once we get it. Once we get there. Meanwhile, Cadenza is finding the connector that I was thinking about earlier. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, depending on where it goes, she's gonna check into it. Maybe this goes to that big key, so maybe that'll be something for her. But it is putting her off the hammer a little bit.
And that hammer is directly leading to our mirror and that cane of Samaria.
Oh,
Samaria absolutely required, but...
Alright, so that went to Graveyard Ledge, which is a check that she won't have to do, and also she can just jump back in here real quick and leave. So hopefully she goes to Dark Ice Shard area and not to Ice Palace, but she is going north, so I'm a little worried.
She might be checking the Dark Lake Hylia shop.
That's Ice Palace, I believe, so...
I thought that Hive Cave was Ice Palace.
I could be a liar. I'm not sure. I am a liar. Oh, just kidding. I don't think we saw the other side of this connector either yet, actually. Oh, never mind. Doesn't matter.
That's a useless desert right one.
So we haven't figured out how to get to that big key on Bumper Ledge yet. So. At least that connector did not distract Cadenza, so she is now going the way that she needs to go to get all of the good stuff here. She's gonna find a cane of Samaria and a hammer over here. She's gonna be able to take care of Blind, and that'll also put her in give her the ability to take care of Moldorm as well. And then she does know where GT is, and it's pretty easy to get back to with the hammer. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her kind of jump right into that because that's a lot of items that she left behind there.
Alright. Furaime gonna get this small key here.
Oh yeah, I forgot Skull Woods was over here as well. She does have the lamp. Furaime did not have that when he was over here. It's a little dicey in her situation, but she could do the bomb jump to get to Mothula. It's fairly free. Her health is just overall kind of low, so that makes it a little grosser to try to pull off killing Mothula in this situation. But she's pretty strong, so she may just go for it. We'll see.
And having Bombos, that's a nice way to clear out the Gibdos in that room.
Yeah, doesn't look like she's too interested just yet, but maybe if she gets the hammer, she'll be more inclined. The hammer is another, but much better offense against Mothula than the fighter sword.
She is going into Thieves Town before grabbing that hammer.
I think we decided it might actually be in here.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
right. It
really
was in
sure.
here,
Yeah.
in one of the chests that we couldn't see.
At least that was the thought. I don't know. I missed a couple things on this side when Furaime was over here. He was lagging a little bit, so we will find out for sure. Meanwhile, Furaime back in pod, he has a few extra keys and he's got this bow, so he can pick up a lot of items. Up there's the hammer. All right, so Cadenza has found all the goodies. I would expect a GT rush pretty fast, and that'll get her a mirror, and then she might be, other than dungeon clears, at least item-wise, she could be on a little bit more of a parity with Furaime. Actually, it looks like she's not going to finish Thieves Town, though. Oh, she doesn't have the... Where was the Thieves Town big key at? Oh, wasn't that next door?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That was in that other.
Well, she might feel a little silly in a minute, but yeah, she'll probably go right back in, though.
I imagine she absolutely will. She doesn't have the knowledge yet that it's a crystal, but she does know one of the pendants, and it's worthwhile to go back. You still know that there's 4 items back there that you can get.
Yeah, and you do have the small key and the hammer, so that's just kind of unfortunate to order on the entrance clear in there. Meanwhile, Furaime actually also going towards the boss. He does have the ability to kill Almasaur as well. I think he went to the back end, I'm not sure.
No, he hasn't yet, and this can be a common play. You know it's a crystal, you know you're gonna have to clear it. The other small keys are out there somewhere, so if there's something important back there, you can, but might as well get your important crystal here, and maybe you'll never need to come back.
Yeah, it's also not super hard to get to. Back of Old Man goes into Kakariko, so it's not really like he's going to be leaving pod. It's a terrible place either. Getting a few hammer hits in here on the jewel. That is just as good as having tempered sword. It's a little tricky, but doing a good job. Gets it done.
Couple of hammer dashes as Helmasaur explodes, and that is crystal number 3.
Yeah, he does have the ability to get Skull Woods as well. He knows where that's at. He's got a lamp. If he's so inclined, he could also get Ice Palace cleared, at least. It would be 7 items, but it is a pendant. Oh, we can do Eastern. Yeah, that's the other crystal that he can do right now. Forget. Oh yeah, it's on Holiday Island, so it's also fairly easy to get to. Okay, he still has the key, so he's gonna go to the back now. I was thinking that he had used his key somewhere else. So he can hammer you up and basically get everything but Harmless Hellway and I think the big key chest out of here. So I think
Yep.
he spent his key on the front door. Yeah, Eastern is a fairly easy grab as far as like a dungeon clear, considering it's right next to the house, so he may end up there next. Let's see. What do we still need a. We don't actually necessarily need a fire rod, especially for having cleared right side GT already. We definitely need another sword. We need another CT, Castle Tower Small Key. We need a Meyer Big Key, Desert Big Key. So overall, not in bad shape really.
No, for sure. We did find a early connector to the Meyer area, and there wasn't much in there, but we could mirror now to those desert ledge entrances.
Oh, there's a big key to Skullwoods. It's not terribly exciting, but does get you closer to only being able to find good big keys, I guess.
There's a question about Sick Kid. We did see Sick Kid. He is up on West Death Mountain.
Oh, desert. Oh, that's one of the ones we need. Okay, that's good. So that's 2 more crystals he can get. No, 3, because he can do Skullwoods if he wants to. Meanwhile, speaking of crystals, Cadenza gets blind down, has a nice fight there. It's her first crystal. She knows where Moldorm is, so that's the crystal she can take care of. And she knows where GT is, so it seems likely that it's something she's going to do sooner rather than later.
Gonna get that magic bat check now.
Got a small key to Meyer. The Castle Tower small key is really the biggest issue right now because you don't need anything, it's not locking anything but Aghanim. So you could be required to get all 7 crystals and open Ganon's tower to find that Castle Tower small key. That is a scenario that is pretty much present on anybody's mind that has a lumberjack Ganon. It's happened numerous times before. Luckily, it's the Castle Tower small. Sometimes the boots have been in there. Ganon's tower behind 7 crystals, that's really gross. But this is the kind of seed that makes you worry about that type of thing.
The other thing that we are looking for is the entrance to Meyer itself.
Oh, apparently we did see the other side of Overgame at some point, and I just missed it. So I'm using that to take make his way into the Meyer area and use that mirror to check things. Finds the potion shop. Unfortunately, has not turned his mushroom in yet. Speaking of mushroom, though, Cadenza just picking it up. Understandably, rushing GT. Once she got that hammer, there's a lot of items she can get in here. We'll see if she wants to climb it this time while she's here. She doesn't have to kill Aga 2. It's still going to be a bit of a time commitment to climb it, though, just for the 4 items. So it's a kind of a mixed bag.
Desert left is the front of Old Man Rescue. We don't need to worry about that, so we'll see what Desert back leads to.
Alright, well, none of that was super exciting. Where is Furaime gonna go?
I think he is going to go to Desert, because that is in the 50 Rupee Cave, and yeah, we've got Mimic Cave right here.
Oh yeah, so Desert pretty good target, yeah. Get Quake, that is of questionable value right now. I know we came out of Meyer, and we don't have any way to get into Turtle Rock regardless. What in the heck is
What is that? I think that might be some kind of door glitch with an item dash.
I can tell you it's not one I've seen before, so that was something. Meyer's entrance was Quake, but we did come out of Meyer, I believe, at some point, so we already know. Yeah, we don't need that.
One of Paradox's exits was Meyer.
Alright, Cadenza getting her first Castle Tower key and that mirror, so she's also got a lot of things to do. She did pick up that Eastern Palace big key, so we'll have the ability to take care of that dungeon as well. We haven't seen Furaime go for it yet, but he may go there after this. We'll see.
If he wanted to, he could save and quit to Link's house. Spike Cave is right by Link's house. Check that real quick, and then head over to Eastern.
Yeah. We'll see what he's in the mood to do once he leaves here. Gonna use the ice rod. It's not quite the same timing as the fire rod, but it does work the same way. 2 hits and they're dead. Gets the Flammos down fairly quickly. One got away from him a little bit, but does get himself another crystal. So we are looking, or at least Furaime is looking for the entrance to Mire. Although we do have a few more possibilities with this mirror still. And the Mire Big Key, and a Castle Tower Small Key, and I think that's all we are really interested in finding right now. Alright, Cadenza looks to be dashing out of here. I don't know if she checked the big chest yet or not.
I don't think that she did.
Does she climb? Meanwhile, Furaime is interested in doing Eastern for another crystal. She is not going to climb. She's going to take that mirror, I think, and start going some places.
We do have access to the top of Dark Death Mountain, so that mirror would give us access to the top of Light Death Mountain. So we'll be able to check the Paradox entrance, Hera, top of Spiral Cave, and the Fairy connectors. And Cadenza is going to go into Ice Palace. I don't believe that she knows it's a pendant yet.
I don't believe she does either. I'm intrigued because this is 7 items. 6 of them are in logic. Could be one of the things that we need. There's no reason why it can't be here. Not knowing it's a pendant could make her run across whatever's in here if it's something we need. A little sooner than Furaime could be a safety for her. So far, just a Ganon's Tower Small Key, not super exciting start. Meanwhile, I totally missed it, but I don't think there was anything particularly good in Eastern Big Chest.
No, it was a piece of heart or 20 rupees. I can't quite recall, but...
Alright, so Cadenza is going to Ice Break, it looks like. I have not seen anybody do this in a race yet, so I'm interested. I don't know how to do this just yet myself, but everybody makes it look so easy.
I know in theory how to do it. I'm just not particularly skilled at one-frame movements.
Yeah, tell me about it. Oh, there she goes. Just smooth as could be. So this is going to cut a little bit of time off of Ice Palace. It's a new glitch that they discovered not too long ago and just made legal. Something about Canis Maria and door states, and Canis Maria is just super busted, and that's really about all I know about that.
That's pretty much all there is to it. Nothing on Armos either. I'll have to see where he decides to go.
Okay, that's interesting. Mitts not necessarily required this seed, but also maybe. We don't know yet. So that could be a boon for Cadenza, or it could be a giant distraction.
Okay, so the one thing that those mitts would give us access to is potentially the Turtle Rock entrance, and if it's Bombos or Quake, that would be in logic.
Yep, we also have the potential of Hammer Pegs and Ice Palace entrance, and we do have the Smith Chain. That would be pretty much the extent of the Mit's usefulness at this point. If Myers in one of those entrances, maybe, or if the Smith Chain holds one of the keys that we're missing, it could be potentially interesting. It just could have her look at more things or check more things that she doesn't need to, but we don't know for sure just yet. So it's kind of interesting to find those at this point for her. Furaime, meanwhile, taking his mirror, checking out a little bit of East Death Mountain Summit area. Not finding anything particularly uh, nice. But Cadenza did also get a Turtle Rock key, as Chad is pointing out. Doesn't really need them too much, and also was probably hoping never to kill Trinix. So we'll see exactly how useful that ends up being. I know she probably has at least one or two Turtle Rock keys, I would assume. I don't see any marked down, but I think she had at least one before. Right,
With
so,
the entrances of Turtle Rock that we have, you only need 2 to full clear it, so...
Alright, well, interestingly enough, I'm also taking on ice. Oh, never mind. He is going through this connector that he didn't check before. I keep forgetting ice is in the other entrance. This isn't going to do much for him, though, so we'll see what he wants to do after this. He could still go in ice. I mean, it is 7 items. And many people have messed themselves up by waiting to go into ice until the last possible minute, so he may not be interested in putting it off that long.
Now, I was looking at Furaime. Did Cadenza go to Iced Tea?
I am not 100% sure, to be honest. I think she did. Furaime, meanwhile, is not going to ice just yet. He is going to check this connector, though. Yeah, Jeff in chat is saying she did. Oh, big key to my... Oh, well, this was 100% necessary, so good for Cadenza there. Furaime might put that off for a while.
Yeah. The big key to Mire doesn't do us much good until we find the dungeon, but once we do, that is going to be full clearable. You don't really need to find any small keys before you can clear Mire, and
Yeah, interestingly enough, she, with those mids, also pretty much has access to every entrance that exists. Potentially save Turtle Rock depending on the medallion situation, but finding Mire should not be much of a problem for her at this point. It's just a case of whittling down all the entrances. But she is going to make a pit stop in Eastern. She did get that big key, so she knows she can full clear this. Don't know if she's checked her map yet, so I don't know if she knows the status as far as like crystals. Does find the library and the Ice Palace entrance, so that's one way the mitts would have been useful. Not so much right now.
okay, and the top of Paradox Cave led to a connector that led to the bottom of the Fairy Ascension Cave, not particularly useful. I'll have to see where Furaime decides to go here in the Dark World.
I would assume mirroring on the top of Hyrule Castle. He does have the cape, so he can get all 3 entrances. Trying to think of how much he really has left to mirror to. He might end up in Ice Palace out of necessity before too long, honestly.
The only other place I can think is Hera.
Yeah, I don't know if he did that. Also, oh, hey, here's something. He could climb GT, but I would think he'd want to do Ice before that, just because it's more items. But we'll see. Alright, Head Cave, not super interesting today.
Nope. One more entrance at Jump on top here.
He could also, I forget exactly where the potion shop was, but he could turn in that mushroom and try to make his way back there. That's an item that he could get his hands on. I think he did the shovel and powder already, but I don't think he dealt with the mushroom. But it looks like he's reading my mind because it looks like
yeah. I'm gonna go turn in the mushroom and then head back to that connector to the Mire area. The potion shop was at Checkerboard Cave.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was somewhere over there, but I wasn't 100% sure. I was too distracted dealing with audio to try to keep my map up today. So right, Cadenza picking up another crystal here. That'll be 2 for her. She can also get the one from Hera and Skullwoods at her leisure. And Desert, for that matter, I think. Wait, where was Desert? Doesn't look like she has it yet.
Desert Big Key was in one of the connectors one of the desert entrances that you had to mirror to. So she has to go back to the mire area with that mirror.
Okay, right. So I don't expect it'll take her that long to start checking those entrances.
Nothing in Spike Cave.
She looks gonna check out the top of Hyrule Castle first. It looks like, which we already know not gonna lead her to too much. And Furaime, I don't know that he's checked her yet, so it looks like he's gonna go ahead and do that real quick.
I don't think he's taken a look at what the Turtle Rock Medallion is either, so he might run over and check that after this.
Well, the old man saving quit is right there. So, oh, hey, Hookshot Cave. We were missing this as well. Here's four potential good items. This could go to the big key on the top of Bumper Cave, although at this point we know it's not a big key that we particularly want to see because we've gotten all the ones that we really need.
Yeah, it would just be Turtle Rock. I believe that's the only big key we haven't.
It could also be Ice Palace, which would be maybe more incentive for Fram to go to Ice Palace, and maybe a big deal if the small castle tower key were there, for instance. That would be pretty much the worst thing ever for Cadenza. But let's see. It looks like it was Ice Palace.
And one more entrance to check here.
Ice Palace Big Key is one that's, or Big Chest is one that's pretty bad to isolate. But oh, there's a small key in here. I don't know that I don't remember seeing the other side of this. Oh, just a pod key. So we're still looking for that one key, and we know that doesn't go anywhere. So I'm gonna back out of there and go to Graveyard Ledge. Maybe I'm not sure if he went through that connector that went there, or possibly King's Tomb. I don't know if we saw that yet.
I don't believe we saw King's Tomb, but he's going to go back to his connector up the mountain. I think that the only thing here would be looking at the Turtle Rock Medallion, or maybe the Middle Fairy Ascension Cave.
Yeah, I know he dropped down to Spiral, but looks like he has a different plan in mind.
Oh, Sick Kid.
Oh, right, yeah. Did get a bottle finally. So he's kind of in a weird spot where he needs two keys for Gohomo, and they could be just anywhere. Well, no, he needs a sword too. All of that stuff could just be in the dumbest of places. It's actually a little surprising we haven't found a second sword yet. They can be really elusive at times. But
we have cleared out most of the item-dense places. We'd just be looking for the dam, for Swamp Palace, and looking for Misery Mire. That's about it.
Yeah, and we're running pretty low on spots that either one of those could be. It's starting to look a little bit like those myths are relevant. Looks like Cadenza, meanwhile, did turn in her mushroom before she found Potion Shop, so that's going to be good for her. She'll be able to get that first time through that item. She is going to Herapod again. Looks like she's going to... Oh, I thought she was going to do the spin speed, but looks like she's doing the bomb version. So this will be another crystal for her. I know there wasn't much of interest in here. I don't think we've seen this big chest either that Furaime's checked out.
No, and Cadenza and Hera reminds me that we also have the Hera basement. Get a book in desert.
Yeah, that is true. She doesn't have the key. I forget where the key was, but maybe it was right side GT. I think I want to say possibly.
Now, we already saw a connector that took us out of the main part of desert, so that book doesn't actually get us anything other than information. So we'd be able to read the tablets, but we couldn't get them, and we'd be able to read pedestal.
Yeah, and also just going to read the tablets when you don't have a second sword is not a super exciting prospect, so we may not see that for a while. Alright, so Furaime is going somewhere. I forget, he's already done Thieves Town, which is over here. Where is he going to?
Skullboots.
Oh, right, yeah, so he's just gonna bomb jump Skullwoods. Doesn't need the fire rod for this, and it is another item, so maybe he'll get lucky and it's one of the ones he needs. At this point, we know the only thing it could be that would progress them towards the end would be the Castle Tower small key. I guess it's possible that he could find something here that would lead to that would help him skip a step. But meanwhile, Cadenza is going to turn these mitts in to another entrance here. And a couple of items maybe. She does the Smith Chain. We are still looking for Meyer, and it's starting to seem pretty likely that it's mitts locked. Meanwhile, Furaime pulling off that bomb jump. It's pretty free bomb jump. You just line up against the wall and wait for the ball master to go away, and you're already on the right pixel since you were backed up against the wall. And it's kind of the same concept. Light the first torch, drop down, go to the and light the rest of the torches. But looks like the dam was in Hammer Pegs, which gives Cadenza access to all of Swamp, which is a lot of items.
Also gives her item access to the one flooded item at the dam itself.
Yeah, so those mitts could be leading her on a really long, distracting journey, or they could be really pulling her out of the fire right now. Ooh.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, it looks like those mitts are going to be a little distracting unless they lead to a sword, maybe. We got our Castle Tower small key in on Mothula. So the only thing we are really looking for right now is for a sword. And I'm not sure outside of the mitts areas where it could be, maybe in the GT con. But other than that, we might still need the mitts to get to it.
That's a hard thing to say. In terms of where Meyer can be, I'm trying to think of other entrances we haven't seen. So we haven't seen the Turtle Rock vanilla entrance, and we haven't seen. That's the only other place besides, I think, Ganon's Tower.
Big bomb.
Yeah. But that can't be Meyer because Meyer is one of our 5/6 crystals.
Yeah, so I want to say Turtle Rock is seeming pretty likely at this point. And I don't think we know the medallion to get in there just yet either. Also, I am going to just go ahead and... Oh yeah, here's another item back here also that Furaime's going to go for. I would not be particularly surprised to see the fire rod in the swamp technically behind Bombos through Ice Palace at this point. Just because we all know that when you get Bombos, that in some form or fashion, it seems like almost likely that the fire rod's just going to be behind it. It's just like a thing that Rando just loves to do.
Of course. And we do know Furaime will have to go back to Ice Palace eventually, even if those Titan's mitts aren't required, which I'm pretty sure they are in order to get into that Turtle Rock entrance. But need that Misery Mire big key off of Cold Stare.
Yeah, that Misery Mire big key will at least mean that he probably doesn't need to do anything with the mitts once he finds them, other than like getting into Turtle Rock. Depending on the medallion, of course, because if it's Ether, then we're still going to be in it for a while here. So we'll be looking for wherever that is. But those mitts do give us access to that Swamp Palace, so that's kind of interesting.
And Ether is a nasty thing that could be pretty much anywhere, including in Swamp Palace or, on Trinex or anywhere.
Yeah, I'm starting to think at this point that we might end up in Swamp looking for a sword, though, because we're running a little low on spots for that, too.
Swamp and Mire are both pretty dense locations when it comes to cross keys.
All right, so Cadenza is... She's got Pod down, so that's another crystal for her. Looks like she... What's in here again? I forget. Oh, it's a heart container. Maybe she just forgot that was there because she's been skipping heart containers. So that's interesting to go for that one. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out what it is. She doesn't have the ice rod from Dark Cross. Is one of the other differences. We're hoping not to have to kill a Trinex or anything. It would be pretty stupid to have to kill him just for a sword.
But she is heading to the Mire area now, so we'll be able to get that desert big.
Yeah, and we'll see what's at the potion shop. We haven't seen that yet. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna go ahead and take care of Agon. He had to get that wanted to check that other item anyway, so there's no reason not to do it now. Makes saving and quitting a little more obnoxious, but there are worse things to deal with. But yeah, I kind of wish somebody had checked the medallion, but she may go check it fairly quickly. She's running out of entrances. And the old man save is right there, so...
I think we're on to the third cycle here for Aga, not being very polite with his pattern.
Oh, just a small key to Skullwoods, logically required, but not at all helpful for the butcher shop. Alright, so I think she's gonna do the same thing, Mimic Cave into Desert. I think... Oh, wait, she didn't get that Desert... Wait, where was Desert? It's somewhere over here. But...
Yeah, because I thought that Furaime got it, very close to here.
Maybe it was somewhere else. There's Quake. Did she do the back of Pod? Oh, it was in Pod. It was in the Dark Maze. She doesn't seem to have enough keys to get to it, so that's going to be a bit of an issue for her at the moment. I really cannot remember where the Pod keys are that she seems to have skipped right now.
Okay, Furaime is going to go head over to King's Tomb. This, I think, was just a connector to a place we've already been before.
Yeah, Cadenza checking out this dark cave, which isn't going to take her anywhere particularly helpful. I feel like Furaime should be whittled into Ice Palace not too long from now. Like, he's really running low on things to do, I think.
Okay, so Cadenza is going to go to the rest of the Light Death Mountain checks. And then hopefully maybe take a look at Turtle Rock. Yeah.
Yeah.
See if we can get in there.
I think she's checking that. She's about out of places that she can get her entrances as well, so she should have some idea that this could be Mire. I think she really doesn't have a lot left entrance-wise. Oh, and it's Ether. Oh no.
Oh.
Well, looks like the myths
Show us some new checks here in Turtle Rock. We can get the Crystal Roller Room, we can get the big chest, and we can get the very front chest. Still cannot get those ones locked. Well, nope, there's a fire rod. Never mind, we can get all of the checks here in Turtle Rock now.
Well, that's a hilarious spot for that as well. That's a close second. So, that still means the mitts might or might not be useful, because that fire rod opens up a few things that we haven't done yet. Well, I mean, they're useful for getting into Mire at least, but we don't know like if Swamp is still a factor because of that Ether medallion.
Have to see if there is a sword in one of these checks here in Turtle Rock.
Alright, Cadenza pretty much working her way through all these spots that Furaime has been in. She's gonna need to find herself a pod key. She's got this Ice Palace key, which she definitely never wanted to see before she was in go mode. I don't think anything was here otherwise. Oh yeah, there's a pod key, I think.
Yeah, I believe this is a pod key up here, so that should be enough to get her back into pod. Would still need one more, because I think she's opened the middle door. Well, there's our no mode. We've got a sword.
Alright. Oh yeah, Cadenza died earlier going after that chest, didn't she? Oh, that's unfortunate. And she ran out of bombs as well, so she didn't have much reason to go back after that. Alright, so we are looking for ether. That's not no mode yet. We still need ether because oh, how dumb.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I think we've determined at this point that we gotta get into Turtle Rock. I can't really think of any other entrances we haven't seen. So we are looking for ether as well. I don't think Furaime knows that yet, but he might know. He might be starting to realize he needs mitts at least.
And yeah, just in case you looked away for a second, that was a vanilla Turtle Rock key there.
Yeah, big key to Turtle Rock inside the Turtle Rock. Oh, hey, look, there's all the swords.
Fantastic.
So one at least was fire rod lock, but the other one was pretty free to get to. Furaime does have the ice rod, so he's just gonna go ahead and kill Trinix. No reason not.
And we know where the big chest entrance is, so if he wants to check that later, that's not hard to get to.
Yep, and meanwhile, Cadenza, I don't think... No, she should have a bottle now, because there was one on Spectacle Rock. That's her first bottle.
She already turned it in.
Yeah, so... not sure exactly where she's going at this point. Oh, I guess she had an entrance over here she had not done yet, and... I'm trying to think... She might be getting to a point where she needs to go into swamp from her perspective. She could also do the same thing that Furaime has just done, but she wouldn't be able to get Trinix at least because she has not gone a Dark Cross for her Ice Rod. This also gives Furaime the green pendant check, by the way, as well. So still could be that either. Alright, she's going towards town. If she goes to pod, she'll get her desert big. She knows she should be able to get 6 items out of that small key. So that's not the worst incentive to check that right now.
And Turtle Rock Main was the one remaining entrance we hadn't checked, which was the top of the floating island. So there was no way to enter Turtle Rock from the front this seed.
Alright, oh, Cadenza is feeling like swamp is the thing. Don't blame her. It's a lot of items in here. Furaime, meanwhile, getting those swords, decided to go ahead and check a tablet with that book. More incentive to actually, since you can actually get the item now.
So if he's got, maybe now Bombo's tablet on the mind, I think he would probably go into Ice Palace at this point. It's along the way.
Maybe heading that way, yeah, right now. Oh, he might not be heading that way right now.
This will be a green pendant turn in.
Oh, right, so Hostile was over here.
I guess, if he mirrors and saves and quits after this, then it's not too bad to get to Ice Palace either.
He's really almost out of things to do outside of Ice Palace, though, so... Like, I'm struggling to think of what he could really do.
Yeah, because Ice Palace is leading to everything else right now, since our access to Swamp Palace is locked behind the Mitts, and Misery Mire Big Key is behind that, and yeah, both access to Misery Mire and the Misery Mire Big Key. But we'll be able to go into Ice Palace. Maybe that Ether Medallion is in there.
Yeah, if it's in the big chest, that's going to be very unfortunate for Cadenza, because she's not going back to that until it's like the last thing she can do. Meanwhile, yeah, the Turtle Rock big chest. I was gonna say, I knew something was over here. I forgot what. Looks like Cadenza may be thinking about skipping left side to start with. Or, nope, I lied. She's actually going to do left side to start with. From her perspective, I think she's missing enough that there's some incentive to just go straight over there. She still needs the Desert Big. She still needs. Well, I don't know if she knows that bomb jump in the Skull Woods, but maybe she thinks she needs the Fire Rod. I don't know. She's also still missing that Castle Tower key, so she's missing at least 2 things.
And do not panic, even though it looks like she drowned the big key, she is going to do the diver down glitch, which is another recently found and approved glitch.
Also, Ether Medallion for hers, for things she needs. So, this is basically I think the version she's doing, Cane of Samaria, like forces you into the rail and you just kind of like clip into the water, and instead of swimming in it, you're standing on top of it, and then you can just go in and pick up the pot and then mosey on over to the other side. It saves you a little bit of time in screen transitions if you do it fast anyway. I'm not sure how much time she's saving at this particular moment, but yeah, if you do it all like real smooth and fast, then it does end up saving you a little time.
If you want to save a lot of time, you can also set up a bomb to explode in that north room with the chest, and then it basically triggers that switch as soon as you leave the room, so you don't need to worry about going back to flip the switch again.
And she did end up getting it. She kind of committed to it anyway because she floated the key, but yeah, interesting new trick that we've discovered. Meanwhile, Furaime is pretty much been funneled into ice. Really didn't have much choice at this point, I think. So he's going to get Mitts and he's going to get the Misery Mire Big Key. And we'll see what's in the big chest, and we'll see whether that's going to be a problem for Cadenza.
And seeing that Ganon's Tower small key reminds me again that we still have those 4 chests at the top of Ganon's Tower to check.
Yep, I imagine that's going to be about the last thing on anybody's mind. Looks like Furham's going to give us a little bit of icebreaker as well. Can't really I don't know the setup for this at all, so I can't tell those two.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either. He decided he's. I was going to mention that he decided not to flip the switch. Since he does have all the keys, it's not a big deal to not flip the switch, but he's just going to go the regular Ice Palace route anyway.
Alright, so we're going to the back of Swamp, still looking for this Ether Medallion. No joy yet. Looks like we're going to get another version of Diver Down, or another instance of Diver Down for these chests down here.
And if you get it, right within 1 or 2 times, it saves you the time of having to push the statue, and also saving the time watching the water drain cutscene.
Alright, well, we got ourselves another bottle. So, the Ether Medallion, not here in the swamp so far.
As our lovely compass tracker says, there's still 2 items left, now 1 item on the boss itself.
Alright, so we're getting closer to this big chest, and that is a big question mark for us. Argus, meanwhile, coming up for Cadenza, and she's got the fire sword. She can do fighter sword spins. It's not like the most exciting Argus fight ever, but if you hook a couple at once and then spin, it's not too bad.
Furaime gets his Titan's Mitts, which will lead him to Swamp Palace. And of course, we still have the Smith's Chain left. And what other checks? We also still have the Skullwood's Big Chest to look at.
Yeah, that is true. Furaime picked up that key somewhere.
And Hera Basement, I believe?
Yeah, that's also a thing. Alright, but we're approaching our biggest question mark. This Ice Palace Big Chest at Cadenza unfortunately had to leave behind because she didn't find the Ice Palace Big Key until after she was in here. So let's see if we can get a look-see here. Oh, well, we're going to make a quick stop for the Freezer chest as well. Small key to Mire on Argus and no help there. That is...
oh! Ouch.
That is a little painful. That is going to be the last thing that Cadenza does, more than likely. That's no mode. Furaime will be in go mode as soon as he gets this Mire Big Key, because he'll know without either medallion that it doesn't even matter, he can get into every entrance. But
Yep.
looks like Cadenza is heading towards her Desert Big Key, at least.
Cadenza may very well hope, if she remembers Dark Cross and grabs that Ice Rod, may very well clear Turtle Rock and Pulphead before going back into Ice Palace.
I would not be surprised. If you skip Ice Palace Big Chest, it tends to be the last thing that you go back to. So.
And there is Furaime's go mode. He was debating just saving and quitting out of that pendant. So Titan's Mitts are only going to be required for our Misery Mire access. Looks like Furaime is going to go and check the Ice Palace location to see if that's Mire. May check Hammer Pegs too.
Yeah, Ice Palace is at least a quick check. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Turtle Rock before Hammer Pegs, just because Old Man is right there. So that's technically, I think, quicker than Hammer Pegs. But he is mirroring, so I'm not sure. Oh yeah, he has to mirror to save and quit because of Aghanim. So just get. Starting at the oh no, discarding. He's starting at the Old Man. I missed his switch to the so yeah, this is gonna be Turtle Rock, and as I'm sure we've been expecting, probably finds Mire here, and he just has to go mode that, and then go kill Ganon. He's already got Aghanim down, so this is looking to be a pretty quick finish overall, considering how terribly the seed started.
Exactly. Anytime you had like that super linear last location at the beginning of the seed and you can finish that cross key in under 230, you're feeling pretty good.
Alright, so assuming we have calculated correctly, this should be Misery Mire. Meanwhile, Cadenza taking a dip into the magic bat for, I can't remember what, but I don't think it was really important.
And it is indeed Misery Mire. With that big key, we can go straight to the back and take on Vitreous. And since Ganon is at Lumberjack, I don't think there's a useful connector from... No, wait, I think the back of Old Man Cave takes us back to Kakariko, so he'll probably go out that way to go to Ganon.
Yeah, that's. I feel like maybe the most efficient way to do it without the flute or anything like that. We are gonna get a Skullwood's big chest check. We haven't seen this yet. Not our last sword, which would have been the only thing that would have been interesting for Cadenza's sake, I think.
I'd say it's pretty likely that last sword is either here in Mire or at the top of Ganon's tower.
Seems pretty likely at this. Alright, so where is Cadenza going? A little nice spooky action from Furaime there.
I don't think I've ever seen that fire rod dash doing spooky.
I think that's generally how people do it in that room. Is fire rod dash.
I usually see it horizontal, not vertical along the pegs.
Alright. Cadenza is going to... What is here again? Oh, she just hasn't checked.
Tempered Sword making quick work of the eyeballs. No silvers, but 8 wooden sticks works just as well.
Yep, and now we can go on to Ganon, kill him. Got a Tempered Sword, don't have silvers, but with a Tempered Sword, it's not very concerning at all. And half magic as well.
Yep, can do some triples with fire rod strats. Den's gonna go and check that shovel. Unfortunately, will not find her ether medallion.
Yeah, it's mainly a question of when she gets back to ice, and she has very little incentive to go there until it's the last location. So it might be a minute before she gets to that medallion. She's still missing. Well, I mean, she doesn't need the fire rod, but she doesn't know that yet, probably. So.
Well, I mean, for Skullwood, she logically does, and I'm not sure how comfortable she is with that bomb jump and the using lamp strats. So that means that, you know, having to go through Turtle Rock to Crystal Roller Room is a real pain.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a fairly easy bomb jump to set up, but not everybody knows about it. So, we shall see. Meanwhile, Furaime is jumping down in again. This should be a fairly quick fight. He's gonna try for the 1-1 since he has the Tempered Sword at least.
Yep.
Alright, got the clink off the trident, and he's got the 1. Does he get the second one? I think he got it.
Yep.
Yeah,
That looks like phase 3 teleport.
Alright, I think he still has a fairy, so I think he can technically afford a death here if he really wants. So obviously, as long as I mean, he's to the part where it's not super hard to avoid damage. So, but at least he does have the fairy as a backup in case he gets hit in the face by a fire bat. He's not.
And Silver's hints in entrance are a little bit glitched, so that probably didn't tell us anything. It said that it was with the grumpy fish, so...
Yeah, pretty much at this point, the entrance thing, when in entrance, when again, and it talks about the bow, if you don't have both of them, he just tells you about the one you have. And they know about the problem, and they have theoretically fixed the problem, but for some reason they have not pushed the fix for the problem. So in entrance, you are not going to get any info on the silvers if you don't already, or if you have not obtained them. The other one pretty much has to be in Mire. Oh no, it's the flute.
Oh no!
I mean, that doesn't really do anything for her, but that's kind of funny. Alright, GG to Furaime. He Went through that silverless, like no problem whatsoever. And he is going
GG's.
to finish in first with a 2:16:47, and that'll be another win for Kinda Rando retired, which should put them at 27 points, I think. So yeah.
Yep. They will be 9-0 and take a temporary first place lead in Kakariko Division. One of the few teams that has a perfect record already. I'm trying to see how many other races Furaime has done. Looks like this is his third race of the league.
Yeah, everybody say hi to Furaime. He's in chat. So any questions you have, go ahead and ask in chat, because I'm fairly certain that Furaime will not be giving us an interview at this particular point. You know, Cadenza is going for Skullwoods without the fire rod. I suspected she knew the bomb jump and just didn't feel like doing it until she had to. But this is going to give her the castle tower key that she needs. So
Yep.
that may
And since she's
put
still
her.
looking for ether, we'll probably do the same thing that Furaime did and just go ahead and clear Castle Tower at that time.
Yeah, so she's got to get to back to Ice Palace. I don't know. It seems like she ends up clearing some more out of Turtle Rock again, as Furaime did, just because going to Ice Palace for that one chest is just not a thing that you want to do.
And yeah, gets that bomb jump quite nicely. So this is the first half of the Week 5 matchup between Kinda Rando Retired and It's Mitts. The second game will be Wednesday at 18 p.m., and that will be Kyong versus Little Miss Arcade.
Kyong is another powerhouse, been doing entrance for a long time, so good luck to the both of them. It's going to be another interesting run of this mode. Although pretty much I'm interested in all the runs of this mode. This is pretty much the best mode of the season, if you were to ask me.
I would absolutely agree. This was one of the ones where the beginning wasn't a great exhibition of the mode, but as soon as we got that Moon Pearl, it really opened up. You saw all the different checks that both runners were able to make and how you could route around the Dark World in lots of different ways. You know, it's really key keeping track of your connectors, knowing all of your whirlpool warps.
I mean, I don't know. I think bomb only Aga Tower is a pretty good demonstration of this mode. And what you could possibly get yourself into. I have found that no matter the mode, as soon as you have a tournament or something that generates a lot of races of that mode, that particular mode, or whatever, in a short period of time, that all the bad seeds come out to play. So I know we've already had a couple of real fun ones today to start this week out, and we still have quite a few races to go. So I'm interested to see some of what the week brings us.
For sure, there's a lot of interesting hiccups in this kind of mode. You know, there's always the case of, you know, the forgotten entrance or, you know, the last location. One thing that can come into play is that Aga Tower entrance on top of Hyrule Castle. Now, normally you do need the cape or a Master Sword to get through it, but a third way for the barrier to be removed is to kill Aghanim.
Yep, that tripped up a lot of people in a Speed Gaming Daily race one day. Speaking of interesting, there was a key on the pedestal. I wonder, something in me says that might have been one of those missing pod keys, and this might have actually been technically a pet.
Yeah. If we only saw 4 pod keys, if one of them's there, and maybe the other one is, I don't know, on top of GT. Furaime asking, Dam was at Hammer Pigs. Yeah, the race really came down to just kind of which dungeons you decided to go into after getting your full Dark World access. The choice between following connectors and dipping dungeons.
Yep. And as expected, Cadenza taking that small key, gonna go ahead and kill Agnum, get that one item on the way, and then she's gonna have some choices. Most of them are bad, so we'll see what her next move is. Climbing GT might come up before going into Turtle Rock without the Fire Rod. I guess we'll see. Maybe she doesn't have the Fire Rod or the big key, and the only way she's getting the big key or the Fire Rod is by going into Turtle Rock. So that might make her go to climb GT before she does anything else. We'll see.
I'm trying to remember where the laser bridge entrance was.
Laser Bridge is just right below Old Man, so it's pretty fast to get to.
Might be a possibility then. She knows that she can get to Crystal Roller Room, although she'll probably be very upset to see the Fire Rod there.
Probably more for the fact that it'll just open up so much more than for actually, like in her, the best scenario for her would be to just like say screw it and go to ice, and not since she doesn't have the Fire Rod in hand. But yeah, I suspect she may still end up doing last location, Ice Palace Big Chest, just because it's one item, it's way out, it's like just annoying to get to. It's one that's a skip that you sort of commit to. It's kind of, well, she does have to actually go into Turtle Rock at some point though. She does need a sword, so I guess she can't really avoid it unless there's one upstairs GT. She might avoid it in that case.
Possibly. Although, going back into Ice Palace, if she can pull off the Icebreaker again, it's not too bad to get back to the big chest in that case.
I guess another consideration would be if she decided not to go into Turtle Rock and then there was another sword in the mire, would also be a way for her to avoid getting the Fire Rod and dealing with all that. Because, I mean, that last sword can really only be in a couple places still.
Mire seems like the best bet. There's another 7 chests in there.
Yeah, 8 total, but 7 that we haven't seen. Furaime, she did not climb GT yet, but I suspect it might be in her future, given the location of Ether.
Yeah, after Aga, it's about an equal. It would be really easy for her to go to Ice Palace after that, but since she's got the flute, I imagine this will be a flute to 7 and then climb GT.
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate skip. You can't really fault anybody for making it, but it's very painful. Delay for this is 10 minutes. All right, so Agnum almost down for Cadenza, and then she's got choices, but they're all gross. So which one is she going to go for first? Turtle Rock is by far the easier one of all of them, but also without a cane and without a firearm, without a big key, it's like less interesting. So I don't know.
Mirror and fluting to.
Oh yeah, I forgot she got the flute, which is not doing her any real good. I mean, it's giving her a little mobility, but it certainly didn't open anything, so not super exciting. Oh, she's doing Dark Cross, which is going to get her to the Ice Rod. Not really something she's gonna want to see. Oh,
Well,
wait, where's she going actually?
I thought she went all the way to Zelda Cell.
Okay, just kidding. She remembered. She's already done that. She might have been. I don't think she actually went all the way to the back yet. Maybe that was where one of the other that's where one of the pod keys is that she's missing. Actually, yeah. Now that I think about it. So she did not even go all the way to the back yet. So she's gonna pick up an ice rod and a pod key, and none of that's gonna excite her at all.
I think because she did set up the death warp to save Scum the guard key. She wasn't sure which key she had, but it is the actual castle Hyrule Castle key.
My ice rod might make her think it turned her off, but at this point it might be better if it didn't. So we'll see, because she hasn't done the right side GT yet either, and I think the Hera small key is over there, so that's another problem that she doesn't really need. So
oh, that's
if
right.
she gets the fire, yeah, if she gets the fire rod, that's just gonna be one more thing that she can do. And then she's gonna have the tablets. She's gonna have like just everything. And given the finish time, she might be thinking that it's something easy that she skipped, but it's it's just the timing of when she got the big key for ice. And yeah, she does need another sword, but I mean, upstairs GT or Meyer are fairly likely at this point for the last sword, so her best bet is to find Ether and avoid Turtle Rock altogether, so that she can get that last sword, or getting that last sword and not getting the fire rod would be like what really helps her out here, as far as like reducing the amount of like stuff that she ends up doing.
Okay, I started to flute to the mountain. See where her save and quit is. Hopefully Link's house, but nope, it's Turtle Rock.
Yeah, looks like she's gonna. I mean, she got the ice rod before coming in here, so I guess yay, because then she won't be tempted to come back and still try to excite her. She'll just get it out of the way, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, yeah, like this is.
There's no good situation here.
Yeah, this is just like more distraction, unfortunately, but it's understandable. Ice Palace Big Chest might as well be on Mars at this point.
Pretty much.
But I suspect we might end up seeing what's in her basement. We don't want to, but I think it might happen. Also, we might find the fourth sword. We'll see. Well, unless it's in Meyer. I guess if it's in Meyer, we won't find it. But if it's upstairs GT. She's where's she going? Oh, did she never do the desert big chest? Maybe. Okay.
Yeah. This thing, quick check, and then she can hop back in her mirror portal to go back to Turtle Rock if she needs to. Oh, or she might decide to go back to Kakariko and check the desert big chest entrance.
This might prompt a save and quit to check Ether tablet. We'll see. We're getting the flute out. Where are we going? We're going to Kakariko. I don't know what we're going after though exactly.
Oh, reading pad, baby?
Yeah, that's
nope.
possible.
Going into the dark world.
Did she do the purple chest? I know she did, or did she do the smith chain? No, I think she did the smith. I don't remember if she did the purple chest.
Oh, she's gonna
back of Skullwoods, right?
Yeah, that's an entrance we have not seen, but I don't think it can be anything useful at this point.
Yeah, I think that was actually the one spot we didn't think about where Meyer could have still been. So for her, this could be, this could be Meyer. Obviously, it didn't end up being Meyer, but because I don't think Furaime actually did check that. I think that was like the one entrance he left. I mean, I'm not sure what it's going to be at this point. Keeping track of item entrances is a little tough in this mode, so I'm not sure what could be missing, but I guess we'll find out soon. She can read the pad while she's here, though, and know whether she's going to need... I mean, it's not necessarily going to save her from getting the last pendant, but she'll know whether she needs to come back here. Alright, so just a storyteller. And yeah, I think she's gonna check. So we'll find out what key this is. Or no, she's just gonna. Nope, she's teasing us. Nope, not gonna check.
Okay, this is the right place to go to Ice Palace, but she's fluting away again.
Yeah. Oh, she's going to the. She's gonna go to the front of Turtle Rock, but not from the back.
And yeah, Ice Palace is at Hype Cave location.
Alright, so this is gonna get her Turtle Rock big key, and also at least a couple swords,
Mm-hmm.
and
At least one sword.
Well, she'll get both of them, I would assume, because she'll clear it all the way to the front, and then probably just go kill Trinex after this.
Seems likely. She's down to a few little locations, although, and getting to Trinex is so easy right now. Yeah, I see her killing Trinex, then climbing GT, and then doing ice. Or maybe doing Hera big chest, or Hera basement chest, then doing ice.
Well, she's. I mean, I don't know. Where's Hera again? Hera's. Ice is sort of easier to get to, so I don't know. But, yeah, I just wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens.
She will get her tempered sword at least.
Yeah, she's searching for that one decision that, like, that she figures that Furaime just like maybe sequenced a little bit easier and pulled out that time. But it's, it's a hard to figure out what it is that puts somebody ahead sometimes.
Now, one thing that I didn't notice, and I'm not sure if this is just something new that was in version 31, but if you find a big key in its own dungeon, does it no longer poke up the message box saying this is a big key for this dungeon?
In entrance, it does not. I'm not entirely sure if they consider that a bug or not. I hope they don't, because I don't think it's necessary to have the text box for vanilla keys, personally. I mean, as long as you know that that's a thing, it's pretty easy to tell. I mean, it might give you a problem in a dark room, but it's as long as I don't know, if you know to check it right as you get something you can't see. I don't know, but I personally am a fan of it not giving you the text box.
It does save that, time when you're doing the Zelda cell check and you don't get the text box on the guard key.
Alright, so yeah, I think we already knew this was nothing. I guess she didn't remember for sure. Probably just gonna jump down and then jump down into Turtle Rock, and or maybe not. She's saving and quitting instead.
Or fluting to 4. If she flutes to 4, this is really good. Okay, this I think is Ice Palace, but it might be Ganon's. No, it's Ganon's Tower.
Ganon's Tower is. She's doing the big chest here. Ganon's Tower is what? Bomb shop, I think.
I didn't write that one on my notes.
It's somewhere near Ice Palace. So. I think she's doing Trinex though. I would assume, going to the Dark World here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll clear this Turtle Rock.
All
We
right.
were talking earlier about how much cross keys is one of the best modes, and there is a ton of it this week. There is, 64 races. We've had 5 so far today.
Yeah. Some divisions are still fairly tied up for who's taking the lead. So there's a lot of jockeying for position still going on near the top. So there's going to be a lot of interesting races that might decide, might make some teams trade places. And again, don't forget that we will see Kyung from Kind of Rando retired versus, who'd you say, Little Miss Arcade, I think, from It's later on this week.
That is right. That is on Wednesday at 8. And Trinex is down for Cadenza. May also turn in that green pendant before Ice Palace.
Yeah, more than likely. But yeah, that won't be the only entrance race. There's going to be plenty of content for the entire week. I know they've already got a number of races lined up tomorrow. Again, on various speed gaming channels and also a couple of the ALTTPR League Twitch channels. You should be able to check the schedule for any matches that are upcoming. I think there's a command.
Now, curiously, tomorrow evening, Kinda Rando Retired went into this week in a 2-way tie for first place with I Like Big Boots. I Like Big Boots is facing Les French Canadians this week. And tomorrow night, that's going to be Esclapos Rad versus Zero Rush.
Well, that's going to be an interesting match there. I don't know how much either one of them has run entrance. I know for sure. I think Esclapos Rad did some in the Crosskeys tournament. I want to say. I'm not familiar with how much Zero Rush has run entrance. I think he's done some, so it could be an interesting matchup.
And then the other matchup in that the other game in that matchup will be Ninban versus Relkin.
Oh, those two are definitely have definitely done a lot of entrance, so that's going to be another interesting one. So yeah, there could be some upsets there.
There's our last pod key on the Smith. Looks like Cadenza is going to do the purple chest as well.
Well, we don't know for sure where the 6th one is, I don't think, but I'm still thinking maybe Ped. She never did read the Ped for us, so we don't know.
I'm just looking at all the keys. We found Desert, we found Hera, we found 5 pod keys.
Oh yeah, I guess you are right. That is pretty much the only key left, isn't it? She is looking for the Ether Medallion, which opens Turtle Rock, which leads to Misery Mire that she needs to clear. And it is in the big chest of Ice Palace. She unfortunately went into Ice Palace without the big key, and therefore pretty much is going to do that dead last, because pretty much anybody that has ever skipped that chest will tell you that is going to be the last thing you ever go back to. To show off a little trick with the purple chest here, if you grab the purple chest and then just dash over here and mirror, as long as you mirror within the sight of this guy here, the game just assumes that you have the purple chest with you, and it's sort of just like a phantom turn in. But not too bad to pair with bombos this way. It's something I like to do sometimes.
One thing that I was looking at, just looking over the standing so far, in one of the other Light World Conference divisions, the Hyrule Castle division, there's currently a 4-way tie for first place. And all 4 of those teams are scheduled to meet each other this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't know. I like our chances this week. We'll see. I don't know.
Alright, there is the green pendant turn-in. So all she has left is Ganon's Tower and Ice Palace.
And I can guess which one she's gonna do first. It's not gonna be Ice Palace, I'm pretty sure. And that's right side and upstairs, which will definitely give her a Harris small key. So that's gonna be another distraction. I'm not sure what she's going for right now exactly. She will have, if she pulls the ped, she will be able to get the last couple of items in the pod too. I think, which she's doing either tower. So that's probably going to be a factor as well. Like I think she can already get one more item out of pod if she wants to, but she should be able to get both if she pulls the ped. GT is not required to complete if Aga 2 is not blocking any progression, and it is not blocking any progression today. So these run on the fast Ganon, or as it used to be known, Crystal's Goal, pretty much always. But again, like you could find something behind Aga 2, like the well, or maybe even Ganon himself, that could force you to do that. But yeah, not necessary today. And even if she does climb GT, she won't have to kill Aga 2 because Aga 2 is blocking the Sanctuary, and we did find the small Hyrule Castle key. So she would be able to just get the chests and then leave out of there. All right, so she did come in here with 2 more keys, and there's our silvers.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then she's going to be able to get Harmless Hellway as well. So.
What do you think that Harmless Hellway has a sword and there's absolutely nothing at all at the top of Ganon's Tower?
I don't know at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if the last sword is just in Mire, really.
That's our density location left.
We haven't found a red mail yet, so there's always that. Let's see. So I'm pretty sure Furaime never checked this chest. I don't think he had enough keys. Oh, there's another bottle. Wait, is that her 4th one or her?
Yeah, that's our full set of bottles.
All right. Well, now the only interesting things we could find are a sword and a mail. And, of course, we don't want to find those, but
nope.
I think, yeah, unless they're in Mire, we might. Well, we're going in the right direction, but I think this is GT more than Ice Palace probably, and it makes perfect sense. She hasn't even done the right side yet, so it makes a lot of sense to do this.
Yeah, that's 8 items for her compared to that 1 in Ice Palace. And yep, over to GT.
Alright, well, I think we might get
Spike Cave.
Oh, she hadn't done that yet either, okay. Well, she's not going to do the 7 in Mire, so I'm going to go ahead and say whatever her game says, she's going to have 209. Her game might not say that, but yeah.
There have been a couple of, visible things that she just hasn't picked up. Some heart pieces and compasses.
Kind of surprised she hasn't pulled the ped yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
Okay, so she is staying in the Dark World here.
Yeah, this is going back to GT. Yeah, she forgot to turn a cane on, so didn't get that spin speed out of it all the way out, unfortunately. But she doesn't really need the magic that bad in GT, and she can also just refill with her potion or in the fairy room upstairs if she wants.
Alright, I'm willing her to go south, but nope, she's going right into Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, this is pretty much the most understandable thing. She doesn't have to kill Aga 2, so I would say she might go directly to ice from here, but then again, there is that Hera basement in that pit, so guess it's gonna be what kind of mood she's in after she gets done climbing.
Okay, skipping tile room. I
She
think
already.
she's hoping that it.
Oh,
Oh,
did
that's
she not
right.
do? I was gonna say, did she not do Tower Room already? She might not have. I don't think she did have the cane when she came here, did she?
No, because she had left Thieves Town. She didn't even have the hammer in here the first time that she went. And then when she got the hammer, she went, full left. Well, she would have had the cane then, though, but I'm pretty sure that since she came back here with the hammer, she mostly just focused on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I can't honestly. I didn't notice if the chest was in there when she came here. And there's that small key to Hera, which does not excite her very much. I'm quite sure. Maybe she did do Tile Room. Well, no, because she's got 4 up here. 5 would be on the torch, and she's missing a 6th one. So. Yeah, so that's got to be Tile Room. Okay, she's gone.
Mm-hmm. One thing that she might. I mean, she looked pretty committed to climbing the tower, but I don't know. I think considering how close Ice Palace and Ganon's tower are, I think checking that Ice Palace big chest is still quicker than climbing the tower.
Yeah, but it's 4 versus 1, so it's kind of unlikely. Now, just mirroring out of the top and going straight to Ice Palace from there would be the quickest thing she could do, probably even over Hera Basement, because she's got to get to Hera first. I mean, she's got the flute in the mid, so it's not too bad. But I think all things considered, those 2 checks are kind of equal at this point. Still wouldn't be surprised to see her do Hera Basement first, and also maybe pull the bed. But yeah, we'll see what she does.
And really, we don't know. She might not have looked at SRL, doesn't know about the dot done. She might just be, completing the seed to complete the seed. And in cross keys, I guess in rando in general, one of the common things is that, well, if it's in that location, I've already lost. I'm not going back for it. Do you think that's a good strategy to maintain in cross keys, even when you know it's been going on for a while?
It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, I can tell you she does know that he finished and when he finished. But hard committing to skips, like I've done it a lot, not even on purpose. So it's really hard to like stay. Ice Palace is like a really long recheck. I don't know if I would put it off to the last thing, but it's very understandable for anybody to do it that way because it is just like such a gross recheck.
I mean, it is and it isn't with the icebreaker, especially since you're not going to go back up and have it to reflip the switch since you've already beat the boss. If you're proficient at icebreaker, you can get it within, like 1 or 2 times. It's really quick to just go clip through that rail and then run right over to the big chest.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not even super bad to go the front way, I guess, if you're just going to the big chest, but and you're like that close to Ice Palace. But I don't know. I can understand the mindset of just not going back there until you absolutely have to. All right. So the only thing that we could really see up here would be red mail or sword.
You can see right there on the compass tracker, there are only 4 chests left.
Yeah, she left the one on the torch, so that one's not showing either. But yeah, she's got everything else. And the main good thing for her is she doesn't have to kill Agatu, so that's alright. At least she can just get the items and then skip out. I'm not gonna say I've never cleared out sewers and then accidentally killed Hagatu and jumped down into them though. So
You'll see one of the few times you intentionally mirror out of the top of Aga Tower. Of Gen's Tower, rather.
yeah, I think she's still got that fairy, so I don't think she has to worry too much about her hearts either.
So I take it that you are going to be racing for your team this week?
Yep, I would this week for the world. Unfortunately, not until Saturday, but get some comms in the meantime, so I can watch a few races. Oh, there's the red mail.
Okay. 2 chests left to see if we could find that butter sword up here.
I think if it's not up here, we can pretty much just... Oh, never mind. There it is. Alright, so that means Meyer is 100% empty, so... Alright.
And this chest is a whole big 20.
Just think, if you had only climbed GT, you could skip the fire rod and all together and not do the Trinex or any of that.
Alright, this is Ice Palace.
Is it though?
Oh no, she's going to Hera.
Yeah, she was thinking about it, but I think she decided to just commit to the last location of it. I think she's gonna pull the ped first, then maybe Heron.
Okay. Get
Or
that last pod key.
maybe I'm lying. I don't know. Kind of interesting that she hasn't yet. There's not really any reason it could be either, from her perspective. So.
Alright, we'll have a little bit of a cutscene. I'll talk about one of the other big matchups this week. In the Pyramid of Power Division, we have the 1 and 2 place teams facing off against each other, the Fendrana Drifters versus Broken Triforce. So one of those will be Big Dunka versus Megawatt.
It's going to be interesting. Megawatt's, I think, slightly more of an entrance runner than Big Dunka, but Big Dunka is a great runner overall. So he's done entrance before, so he's not a big fan, but I mean he's pretty capable in most of the modes. So I think that could be interesting to see. And then who else we got?
I am trying to find it. I don't think it's been scheduled yet.
Let's see. I would assume Delane's going to be the other one doing it that week. So I think Gloin is their third teammate, and I don't think he's a fan of entrance. So I'd assume it's Delane, and I can't remember who else is on Fendrana Drifters actually.
Fendrana Drifters is actually Megawatt, Frostbite, and Jet.
So probably Frostbite and Delane. That seems likely. I don't think Jet's a huge entrance fan, but I don't know. We'll see.
Broken Triforce is Gloin, and I am the Schwartz with Big Dunka.
Oh,
Delane is on Team Awesome.
Just kidding. I would. So same thing I said, but with Schwartz instead of Delane. I'm thinking of my fantasy team because I have Big Duncan.
Oh, okay. All those important fantasy points. All right. Getting that ped bill, going to confirm that it is the 6th pod key.
And there it is. All right. Well, it was a technical ped seed, so those are the best kind, ones you don't actually have to like follow through into the actual pet bowl. But we
Now,
did
I
get to
think
see it.
luckily her mirror portal is still right in front of Ice Palace.
No, I think she used it to get to the pet or something, or like
All
from Hera.
right.
Yeah, because Hera was in the Dark World. So. All right, so shouldn't take her too long to get this ether medallion, and then she'll just have to go to Mire, kill Vitreous, and then kill Ganon, and she'll have butter and silver. So that should be quite easy at this point.
Just a reminder though, to follow both of these runners. Cadenza, she is a pretty good entrance runner. It's just one of those things where it's really easy to get randoed in this mode, which is also why it's so much fun to play, because it's not just 100% about execution and chess per minute. You can just end up making a great call or making a bad call, and it's just really fun. Great execution certainly helps, but you know what? Yeah, give a follow to Furaime, give a follow to Cadenza.
Yeah, this is it's a fun mode, but it's not always easy. So yeah, it's a little hard to keep track of the to track sometimes. Like it's easy to get turned around at times and like maybe miss an entrance. But there's a couple of good trackers that help you with that. So don't let the mode intimidate you. I say get yourself a couple of good trackers and dive right in. And it can be a lot of fun to see some of the situations you get put in. Sometimes it's a little painful. Sometimes I just think to myself, man, like why are you doing this to me? But overall, I think it's very interesting to see some of the situations you could get put into. Bomb Aga Tower, bomb only Aga Tower. Not a huge fan, but
No,
I've had to do it.
that's a pretty ruled one. Having to walk from the eye lasers to the chain chomps on 3 heart green mail with just bombs, that's another thing that it can make you do.
So chain chomps, I'm not too concerned about because I've done it a couple times, and you can at least dodge those guys. But yeah, you don't have to actually kill anything. But yeah,
The other fun thing is having to do a ton of bunny walking, where if you have to, like, say, bunny walk from the Dark Lumberjack all the way down to the the archery game there for your entrance.
yeah. Fun fact: as long as we're talking about dumb things you can do with bombs, bomb only double pokey is actually in logic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The
that is.
pots are actually quite useful in that room.
Yeah, and you could be expected to like go through the back or the front and then go out the left, like with your bombs. Like, I mean, you can also be expected to just go from right to left with your bombs, but you can actually just like skip that with bombing through the rail. But yeah, that's it's a fun little other thing that's in logic with bombs only. I have not actually ever had to do it, but I did hear about it. Luckily, luckily I only heard about it. That would not have been a seed I would have been too happy with.
Cana Bomb Landmo is another thing that can pop up in entrance. Can occasionally pop up in regular seeds too, but it seems to show its head at entrance quite often.
Yeah, that one's not the worst thing ever. I don't think. But
The hard thing can be
yeah,
farming magic for that.
Yeah. Another fun fact is that the ice rod does count as a weapon to get into Mire, the front of Mire, to kill the wizards. So that can be expected. Looks like Cadenza is almost to Vitreous. She's got silver, so this is going to be like the quickest of fights. Blink and you miss it.
Doesn't quite have enough silvers to kill Vitreous, though.
That's true.
And she might save 4 for Ganon.
Yeah, that's true. She might just kill them with the small eyes with the sword, or nope. Maybe she just is planning on doing silverless Ganon. I mean,
Yeah, why not?
Not a big deal. I mean, she does have a shovel if she wants to dig up some arrows, I guess.
I'm taking out some frustration on the eyeball. Well, you know what? Any cross key seed where you don't finish with 19.25 hearts or 19.75 hearts, that's not too bad.
Yeah, true. Although she did skip some containers out, right? So technically, I think she could have been at 20 if she really put her onto it.
It's one of those things where if you're playing this, casually and you last location your go mode, you're looking for those last 2 or 3 heart pieces. Like, you know what? If I've had to check every single one, I am just gonna go and get a full 20 hearts, because why not?
Yeah, I think she knows where she left them, but looks like we're gonna hit Ganon up, and I think she's looking for arrows. Yeah, oh, I didn't even know the crabs
nice.
gave arrows, but yeah, there she goes. So nice memory there. It's been a long time since she checked the crabs, so kept that in mind for a quick little refill. She only needs 4 for Ganon, so this is gonna be a pretty quick fight.
Just welcome Raiders from Speed Gaming dropping in at the end of this race as Cadenza drops into Ganon. Furaime took the win at 216. It really came down to a awful location of Ether in the Ice Palace Big Chest. Furaime was lucky enough to enter Ice Palace with the big key. Cadenza had gone in there earlier without, and last locationed it.
Yep. Already into phase 3, thanks to the Butter Sword. Really quick and easy. And she won't even need torch glitch or anything like that. She'll probably, in fact, not getting the torch glitch can help you set up doubles a little easier. So this should be fairly quick here. I think she's gonna get a double here. Yep, go. She actually got the torch glitch, but so she might miss out on getting a double. But, here we go, one more arrow, and GG to Cadenza. She has taken down.
GG to Cadenza.
And as far as I know, I think we still have a few minutes, so we might be able to get her in here or talk to her.
Sure. See if we can get her in here, get her thoughts on this seed.
The flute was at the dam where there was the sunken treasure item for pulling the dam. While we wait for Cadenza, I want to say, shout out to Iker, our tracker, for keeping track of all of the things since we found all of the things. So thanks for keeping those.
And we're joined by Cadenza. GG. Congrats for finishing that out.
Yeah, GG.
Oh, sorry, my inputs were on the right mic and speakers. Thank you. Thanks a lot to follow me through the end of this.
Yeah, it's Ice Palace Big Chest has created much pain for many people in the past.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about finishing ice when I first went there. It was a pendant. I didn't have the big key, so I was okay, that's kind of a gamble. I need to gamble right now. I had a beginning that was a bit bad with like some thing I forgot and some problems with Ulian and stuff like that. So I was feeling really behind. And I knew that I was against a top runner, that my chances to win were really low. So I wanted to gamble a bit, and that gamble worked.
Yeah, if it weren't for the Ether Medallion, it actually would have put you kind of on the same footing, other than like having a couple dungeons, like disparate dungeon amount of dungeons done. But getting that Mire Big Key, you got that and those mitts fairly quickly. If Mire had been anywhere but Turtle Rock, I think that would have worked out pretty
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty good with those mitts and this big key. I was like, okay, it wasn't a pendant. I had to do this, so that was a good call. And then it wasn't.
Yeah, the Ice Palace Big Chest is it's really hard to call when you want to just like go all in and skip that. It's such a painful revisit.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not the first person to pretty much fully just like
Mm-hmm.
not going back there. It's really have to.
Yeah.
So
It,
you
it,
showed
it,
us a. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say it's either the Ice Palace Big Chest or you're trying to go mode Ice Palace and leave behind Ice Tea. It's one of the two.
Yeah, you showed us for this seed a bit of fun thing that's not actually in Logic and Item Rando, but is still a thing in Entrance Rando. Bomb only Aga Tower. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I was a bit lost, to be honest, when I had that last check. It kind of slipped a bit in my mind, and I wasn't sure if it was in logic, if you can kill all the guards with only 10 bombs. And then at one point I was, oh, okay, that's my only option, so let's go try this.
Yeah, they did take it out for Item Rando, but it is still a thing in Entrance Rando. It's not, or it's not. It can be easy to forget that you can do that, and that the modes are slightly different and the logic's a little bit different
Mhm.
in that regard.
Yeah,
Speaking
and
of fun things, oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, I was going to say after that I was like, okay, what connector do I have to go to the Dark World, and totally forgetting that Sanctuary was at Pyramid and I had an access from there. So I feel a bit bad about forgetting that and like running into circle for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you wasted a huge amount of time with any particular check. So, I mean, this was like not a not a generous seat to start with. But you did show off a couple things. We saw Icebreaker from both of you, but you got to show us a little diver down. We didn't get to see that from Furaime because unfortunately he did not manage to make it into Swamp, or fortunately, I guess, depending on which side
Yeah.
you were on for that one. But we got to see a little interesting tech on your side, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I need to practice it a bit. It's not fluency yet, but yeah, those those new texts are nice.
Oh yeah,
They are
Furaime.
particularly nice here in Entrance.
Yeah.
Never mind, I forgot Furaime actually did fail Icebreaker, so actually we got all the demos from him, but he did give it a fair try. But
Yeah, he was saying he learned it with Link's Ed, so he wasn't able to pull it off with his current sprite.
so what's your favorite league week for this season? What's is this the favorite one, or were you looking forward to one of the upcoming ones, or maybe one of the past ones?
Um, this week is kind of my favorite mode, but I like the idea of the pilot-co-pilot race. So I think it will be interesting. It's some kind of challenge. When you pilot the other player, you don't have time to check up things beforehand, so you jump right into it, and it's tough, but it's fun.
Yeah, I found that pretty interesting too. I kind of want to try it with entrance sometime, although with maybe a little bit of lead in, since entrance is a little like more difficult. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that goes. This is hands down my personal favorite, of course, entrance. But I'm intrigued by this co-piloting. It's been interesting to practice at least. So, and I know you guys have another match Kyong versus Little Miss Arcade, I believe,
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah. On Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
So your team's not done yet for the week, and then of course we have many other teams with matches still to come. So make sure you guys tune in to all of the speed gaming channels and all of the there's a couple of ALTTPR league channels as well that will be playing entrance pretty much all week, all the time. There's a lot of races coming up tomorrow, so stay tuned. We're gonna see a lot more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to throw in on this, guys?
No, thanks really a lot for that restream, that commentary to the tracker. I don't know who it is tonight.
Well, thanks for racing, and GG's, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thanks.
Yeah, GG to both of you, and thanks for putting on a good show, showing us a few tricks. And thanks to Iker, our tracker. Thanks to reminding me for joining me last minute here on comms. Thanks to Speed Gaming for the restream. And thanks to the mods of the my throat just dried up. Thanks to the mods of the league for putting all this together. It's an interesting concept, and it's been pretty fun. It's a little different than your normal tournament, so it's pretty enjoyable. And I guess if nobody has anything else to add, we'll go ahead and sign off. Make sure you give these runners a follow, and everybody have a good night.
Good night. Take care, y'all.